It's clobbering time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
It's clobbering time! Clobberanimo!
Oh, greetings, my friends. Clobberers, clobberanimos, clobberettes, clobberoids, clobberoosties, clobberites, clobberians, and to everyone else out there.
Clobberians.
The secret is to bang the rocks together, guys.
Clobberanimo!
Yeah.
Although clobberians.
What?
I just
That's
really
so
like
unusual?
that one.
Oh, I can't
Clobby
even
the
remember.
clobberian.
I can't even remember where I stole it from.
Well, it's a gooder.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Welcome, everybody, to Clobbering Times. Issue number 619 on YouTube, 1,319 overall, and it's Clobby's Clubhouse number 92. A lot of numbering going on there with, of course, my amazing, fantastic, the most wonderful first officer in the fleet, the lady, fantastic, gorgeous Commander R.M. Briggs, and, of course, the much less gorgeous, but nevertheless still a great
much
guy,
less gorgeous.
a great chief engineer, Mark D. I mean, less gorgeous. All he said was less gorgeous. That's all.
Yeah.
Mark D. with a C, the great chief engineer. What's up?
Doing very good. StreamYard has that new filter that makes you look better. Maybe I got to try.
Yes.
I got to try that
Don't
one.
use filters. Don't lie to
We're
people.
all beauty queens here tonight.
I mean, I don't want to see you in 4K because I don't think it's fair to let anyone see anyone else in 4K. But it should just be naked eye. It's
Yeah.
okay if you
Sit
look the
naked.
same way to people in real life as you do
Yeah.
on camera.
So 4K is not okay.
4K is not okay because that's kind of like how your dentist sees you when you're underneath his
I'd rather
magnifying light.
I'm just glad I'm an avatar. Not the stupid movie either. So
You're very flat.
well, indeediousness. Number one.
Yes, Bob.
Good to see you. Love you.
I
Good to
love
see
you. Thank
Glad
you
we're
for
here.
that warm welcome. I love you with all of my heart. I'm so happy to be here. I'm honored, and as you know, I love spending time with you. So let's do it.
Great to see you here. Got any opening words for us?
I do. I have a new book coming out. And this week I'm publishing the 5th story to my Patreon. This is my second book of science fiction tales. These are classic episodic science fiction tales, and corporations don't want them. In fact, corporations, when I've gone to them to try and get published, have told me that they want activism and they want activists. My stories are just science fiction. They aren't activists. They aren't about activists. They're not written by an activist, and they don't involve any activism. They're just meant for you to have a good time. And so because of that, 17 marvelous human beings and their families have stepped forward to back my book, and I would love to call them out right now. Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, Shuta, Chris Persia, Scuba and Leslie Pete, Eric K. and my dog Kirby, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C and his beautiful family, Anti-Derivative Jill, Maximum Redstone, JT Kirk, Dadman and the Dadman Clan, Lord Thoth, and guess who joined this week? Really, really generous and kind. Thank you so much for backing my work, Rob Altus. So
right.
because of these 17 people, there is going to be another book of science fiction tales for you to just escape into and enjoy. You can think about and massage your ideas about technology, futurism, and the possibility we might not be alone in the universe. So other than that, I want to say hail to the chat. I want to welcome everyone tonight to CLOBBY'S Clubhouse. We're going to have such a great time tonight. I want to give a special shout out to Penny. Penny has dropped in to say that she's going to be listening to us on rewatch, but she's kind of sleepy, so it's off to bed she goes. Penny works, obviously Penny works a lot, and so she had to step out, but not before saying that she'll be here to support us. So I think she's a pretty special lady. Thank you, Penny. I want to wave hello to the Wrenches. Thank you so much for being here and supporting my best friend. He's one of the best friends I've ever had in my life, and I appreciate you so much. And I want to wave hello to the marvelous Mark D with a C, who always works behind the scenes to get the show prepped together, just to make everything easier for us on this side of the show. So thank you so much, Mark. And Clubby, I love you, honey. Let's show these people a good time tonight.
Absolutely, Ishness. Love you. Thanks for being here. And now the great chief engineer, Mark D. with C. Thanks for being here, bud. What you got going on, or any opening words you may have?
Oh, thank you. Always very tough to follow Raquel. She's
yes,
always
sure.
What are you talking about, right?
Of course.
So nice of you to say. And I just want to give a shout out to my Patreons as well. So
yay!
So Rob Altus and Larry.
Oh, cool.
This week. Thank you. And I apologize, I haven't done much. I've been trying to work on getting my channel back, and every time I contact YouTube on Twitter, it seems like I'm talking to a circular robot who has no idea what's going on. So they were supposed to watch my they were supposed to watch my my appeal that I spent like 5 or 6 hours working on a 5-minute video, and I don't think they ever watched it. So what are you gonna do?
Of course.
So go
Sucks,
figure. But I appreciate everyone here, and looking forward to another great time at the clubhouse tonight. So we got some good episodes to talk about, and promise not to talk about food.
We'll see about that. Let's do some show notes and shout outs. How about some
sounds good to me, boss.
Here we go up in here. Okay, it's what is it, Thursday night? So it's Thursday night. Tomorrow night, I'll be on a couple of places. Talking some comics with the great J-Man's channel on his new Friday night outing, which we're gonna I think he's gonna start calling Friday night free for all. We'll do it'll be sort of like my Wednesday nights where anything goes, and we're gonna dedicate his opening show for that. To our good buddy Phantom Outsider, whom I promised him a long time ago, to our good buddy Fanty, that I would review this comic.
Oh, nice!
And I'm finally J-Man and Sean and I are we're gonna give him a triple treat.
Oh,
the
great.
3 of us are gonna review this Superman number 164 comic that he has wanted us to review, dedicated to you, Fanty.
Right
all
on.
for you, buddy. Great friend of the show for all these years.
Yes,
good buddy.
Fanty.
He's a good sport. I bust his chops all the time. He busts mine all the time and stuff. But he's a good, dear friend of the show. So, and he's also a good pal over there at J-Man. So, gonna have some fun over there. Then I'll join.
Finding the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark there. Just kidding.
Yes, yes, he is. And then of course I'll be hanging out with my good buddy, the great 32 Flavors of Nick's Wiser. It is Friday night comic shop talk, 8:30 Central. It'll be just like an open show, we believe. Then, of course, it's Saturday night Star Trek.
Dun, 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 dun.
My wonderful first officer and I will be reviewing 4 more episodes of Star Trek Voyager. What a wonderful time we had last week hanging out with you all, and I look forward to it again this weekend. I hope to see you all.
Will we get any raspberries? That's what I want to. I can't. No spoilers though, but
no,
we'll see. The raspberries were plentiful last week.
They were.
I have to interject. Please excuse me for being so wickedly rude. But Ravenscroft has just said that someone was giving out memberships. And I don't know who it is. Could be Shooter, could be Larry, could be Eric. I don't know who it is, but if we could get a little help from the Wrenches in finding out who is gifting memberships, who is growing this community for my fabulous friend Clobby, I would be so grateful to.
I could check into it after I do this, but unless someone can find it before that, thanks. But thank you. Who is it? Who does
well, not tonight, but I guess she's saying he or I don't. Ravenscroft is. I don't want to assume genders. Apologize, but said didn't realize till this week. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, not right now then. Okay, but whoever it was,
it wasn't tonight. Yeah,
whoever it was, thank you so much. I know Cardi did some. I know Larry's done many, and many others have done it, and thank you all so much. Then Sunday night, it's the big geekery.
Yeah,
at the chief engineer's house. We'll be geeking out, and you never know. It starts off always as the geekery, but sometimes we visit the eatery. Let's face it.
That's for sure.
Oh my God!
Sunday night eatery.
This is hysterical. I need to put this on my Twitter. You have to send me a copy of this.
I will. I don't know how that got there.
This is the best way to tease Mark ever in the history of teasing Mark. But you should have put a C tongue on it.
No,
you don't want to ruin the picture.
Not on my channel. It does not change the fact, folks. Batman does not eat nachos. That's from, of course, a great episode of Batman with the Bolt. And then whatever. Let's see here. Monday night, I'll be over at the J-Mans again, doing our usual Legion chronology.
Oh, good.
Continuing our covering of every appearance of the great Legion of Superheroes in chronological order from the very beginning in the Silver Age all the way to the very ending of whatever, all that mattered, and the Bronze Age, with, of course, the great J-Man and, of course, the extraordinary Sean. So what a lot of women having so much fun doing that. Those guys are the best. And then it'll be I'm not exactly sure what I'll do Monday night yet, but I'll tell you this: a week from tonight, August begins. Jack Kirby month is back for August.
It's your birthday month too.
No, that doesn't matter. It's Jack
no,
Kirby
it's going to
month.
be your birthday.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
He doesn't have birthdays.
Yes, he does have a birthday.
People, I don't have a birthday. This is going to be.
What do you want for your birthday?
To act like for everyone to pretend that I don't have one.
Pretend it's not my birthday.
Oh, how about that? So and you can put a candle on top of that. I don't want one.
Maybe I'll send you an M&M's gift basket or something.
No.
Well, I have to send you something. I love your sweet face.
If you love my stupid sweet face, then put a bullet in it or something.
No, I love you. I would never do that.
Ugly ass face, you know. But anyway, the point being is it's not important whose birthday month it is, except
listen, it is because August is awesome. You want to know why? Clobby was born in August,
and so
Jack Kirby was born in August,
and
Gene Roddenberry was born in August.
We are going to celebrate them all. It just so happens that Jack's birthday lands on a Monday night, the 28th, so we'll be doing that. And Gene's lands on a Saturday night for Star Trek. August, so don't get much better than that. Mine lands on a Who Gives a Shit night, so there you go.
Don't say that.
In fact, we're not even on. See, we're not even on the night mine happens. Thank God.
Well, we might have to go on and give you a birthday party.
No.
That's right, Mark. I'll be there.
Ain't happening. I don't do birthday streams. So anyway, but a week from tonight.
That's true. You don't do birthday streams.
I don't.
You're like me. You're like that's
he
gonna be.
Doesn't, but that doesn't mean we can't all give him super chats. And
this is true.
Remember, I think I instigated that a while ago. A year ago.
I think I know how to disable them. So anyway,
don't you dare!
Anyway,
put you in the agony booth, baby.
Kirby month. Anyway, I can't wait, and I'm getting it ready. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm doing something. I don't know if I can top last month. Well, anyway, let's say hello to our wonderful friends who are with us tonight, because this is what we do at the clubhouse. We hang out, we kick back. Yeah, we do some reviews and stuff, but there's no. Oh, by the way, did everyone review the comic this week?
The comic this week was so good.
Oh, okay. Wait, I just want to make sure. All right, Mark.
I didn't read it, but I can read it really quickly now.
Okay, go for it.
Mark,
Anyway,
are you BRBing to go read the comic?
No, I can skim. I've read it before.
Go ahead and do it. It's going to take forever for me to do the shout outs anyway. So
yeah.
Go ahead. Anyway, let's do the shout outs. How about that?
Okay.
The great Eric K. The
Evening, honey.
Bronze Wrencher. Oops, where'd I go? Oh, where am I? Damn it. Okay. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. And the puppy. Chris Persia, Vindicator Wrench of the Great White North. Thank you so much for all you do, buddy.
Yeah, beautiful show poster tonight. Thank you for using your social media to boost Clobby's channel and to build his community. I love you, Chris. Thank you, sweetheart. You're such a great friend to one and all. Really appreciate it.
Indeediousness. The great D. Bud Martin, the wrench of iron. Hey, buddy.
Mathematician.
I don't even know who's in here or not because I'm looking at the thing, but if whoever's here, not to get the shout out. The great Lord Thoth, and of course, the lovely Lady Thoth. Avon lives, long live the Legion, brother. The aforementioned great Wrench Without Fear, J-Man, my partner in crime on Earth B, and fellow Legionnaire reviewer extraordinaire.
Also an author.
Indeed. Also an author, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Master of the club, Boney, comic artist extraordinaire, Hungry Boy.
HB, very, very talented painter. And and he did the cover for my book. It's pretty nice.
Indeed. Cal L, Super Wrench Supreme Buddy. Haven't seen Cal L in a while. Hope you're out there doing well, buddy. Thor from Vegas himself, Maddie's Daddy, the Vita, Wrench Mjolnir.
Kiss Maddie for us, please. Cutest little girl ever.
The great Fenty Outsidey, Rascally Wrench, and Clobberin Time's own Music Meister, Maximum Redstone.
He went in for his surgery today,
Yes.
and he said it publicly, so it's okay that I say it out loud. I'm not, breaking any confidence.
Yeah.
But Max went in for his surgery about, I think, 10 or 11 hours ago. So if anybody feels like dropping him a note or just saying something really nice in the chat about Maximum Redstone and his marvelous limericks.
Yes, please do.
It's a pretty serious operation, and he could use your support. If you're somebody who prays, I know he would appreciate your prayers. And if you're just his friend, I know he would appreciate some good vibrations, some well wishes, and maybe a note.
Maxie Redstone, brother, we're all rooting for you and counting on you, buddy, out there. Good vibes to you, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also with us tonight is the great JT Kirk. What's up, buddy?
JT Kirk! He is Kirok!
Kirok! Joseph Dredd. Here comes the judge.
The judge.
Hi, Judge. Your Muslim uncle. Hello, my friend.
Evening.
Good to see you, sir. Brian Hepburn, buddy.
Evening, Brian.
Brian Ravenscroft. Hey.
Nice to see you.
Gwagnar. Keely Chow. Roll that tide, buddy.
Roll Tide.
Dun Power Ranger. What's up, bro? Hey.
I love the way you do that, and I know he does too.
He probably hates it. He says he could do it way better, I'm sure. Dun Power Ranger. Simply Steve 68. You
Good
ain't
evening,
no 68,
sweetheart.
are you?
Nice to see you.
He was probably born in 68. No way he is 68. I just want to make sure that's cleared up there. Come on. I'll get to it. Oh, Ezra Goldstein. Shalom, my friend.
Shalom, my friend. Shalom.
John Rupus.
Reggie?
The aforementioned lovely Penny. Good night, Penny.
Yeah, thank you.
If you're hearing this,
yeah, thank you for listening to us, Penny.
Right.
Thank you for stopping in just to say hello, even though you were hitting the hay.
Right. If you're hearing this later, Penny, thank you for being here. We love you and appreciate you. And that makes me stop and give pause to thank all the lurkers out there. Anyone who is lurking, we appreciate you, and we're so happy to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you're listening on a download or a live stream or a rewatch, however you want to call it, we thank you. We don't thank you enough, and we really do appreciate you. And anyone out there, please hit the like button, like and subscribe if you will.
Yeah.
It is very much appreciated.
Yeah.
All right, the great Michael Beacom. What is up, dude?
Evening, Michael.
Good to see you there, buddy.
Say hello to Cassandra for us, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The man is such a great friend of this show. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you, brother. And of course, the wonderful Cassandra. I hope you guys are doing well. Takes me a second to get to a new one, everybody. Sorry. He exists. He doesn't exist, but for my money, whether he exists or not, he'll always exist in my heart. The great Captain Infinity and Beyond.
Captain Infinity and Beyond.
You exist enough for me, buddy. You exist. The Comic Relief Crusader. What's up, Kimasabi? Claude Selling. Hey there.
Evening, Claude.
Dave C.
Dave!
Tuckerverse. Hello there, Tuckerverse.
Ooh.
Welcome.
Cool name. Love
Picasso. Indeed. Tuckerverse, indeed. Picasso. Hello there.
Good evening, Picasso.
Hey, Blood Philly Reviews. Good to see you.
Hey, nice
All
to
right.
see you.
Well, I have to vamp. When I'm trying to get to the next one.
Scrolling. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's truck up. Apathy Cares. Hey there. Hey there. Hey there.
Good evening.
Larry.
A man so nice, you should say his name twice, if not thrice. Good evening, fine sir. So
What's
good
up?
to see you.
All right, brother. Larry. Good to see you, man. Let's see here. Up in here. Almost done.
Simply
Sorry.
Steve clobberisms.
Yes,
It's true.
indeed. I got plenty of those. Well, there we go. As far as I know, I'm caught up to speed, and anyone else who pops in will be duly noted and shouted out in due course. But right now, well, what do we got going on, and what shall we review first?
We have such a great night planned for everyone. You know, we have the Tales of Tomorrow, which I know Simply Steve is really looking forward to. We've got another episode of UFO. We've got the man who came back. We're going to be talking about that. And then the greatest thing ever is going to bring up the rear of the show.
You might like that one.
And it is a marvelous review of a comic book series.
No pun.
That Clobby introduced me to, and it doesn't feel like you're reading comics at all. It truly feels like you're reading lost episodes, or like stuff that was like tonight was supposed to be in the episode but wasn't in the episode. So it's like it's filling in some of the blanks. Anyway, it is so satisfying. I cannot wait to talk about this evening's comics. I ordered my comics from Texas. They are on their way. I don't know how long they're going to take, but every comic we read makes me more and more excited.
Now you know why we love comic books.
Okay, look.
One of us.
I understand. I totally understand now. Like this, I never thought this was going to happen to me. Okay. I never thought in a billion years that I would like comics, but this Voyages that we're reading, what do they call? What's it called again?
Star Trek: The Earlier Voyages.
Earlier Voyages, yeah. Okay, Earlier Voyages.
Early Voyages.
Early Voyages. Okay, I cannot wait until I have a physical copy. All of my physical copies.
Nice.
It is so satisfying. I can't even articulate it. Like, if you don't like these comics, like, what's wrong with you, man?
You're communist, probably.
You have to like. Everyone should love Early Voyages because it is like every single Trekkie should just. Oh, it's ecstasy.
It's the cure for strangled dude worms.
Oh, I don't know what that crap is. I don't want to watch it. I heard that they turned Star Trek into a musical. These people are pukes. Yeah. These people are gigantic sacks of baby
garbagey crap. Yep, they are.
Fetid dog crap. So I don't care about them. But Early Voyages is so beautiful. I'm enjoying it so much.
Nice.
What you missed all those years. Yep. When you're just reading those books with all those words in them without pictures.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Mhm.
I'm actually getting used to the panels now.
Oh, good. There you go. The panel arrangement, and you get
There
used
you
to it
go.
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So there you
Yeah.
go. The only cure for strangle-tooth worms is what I saw in Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer says,
I can't
Michael,
wait to see that movie.
Michael, yeah. I've heard about. Yeah, I've heard some decent reviews on that. Some like it, some.
I love Cillian Murphy. I'm a massive Cillian Murphy fan. Cillian is such a great actor. I love everything that he's done, and
He's
everyone
good, yeah.
here knows that I absolutely love Peaky Blinders. It's just amazing. But I even like how scary he is in Red Eye. Like, my love for Cillian Murphy goes way back.
Did you see him as Scarecrow in Batman Begins? Did you see that movie?
He was great in that role.
He was actually pretty good in that, yeah.
He's great at everything.
Except for the third movie was weird.
Oppenheimer, though, I got a little bit worried about him because, he is quite handsome and he doesn't smoke cigarettes or whatever. He smokes the herbal cigarettes or whatever on Peaky Blinders. And they were saying that he lost a lot of weight so that he could look like Oppenheimer.
He was already skinny.
Yeah, well, he wanted to be as gaunt in the face and he wanted to be as slim in the build so that he could have the same gait as Oppenheimer. So, just standing or walking with that same sort of tall frailty or lankiness. And so I heard that it really took a toll on him. So I want to see the movie, but I'm also kind of, it's sort of like watching that other guy that my husband likes, who did The Machinist, and he lost all that weight.
Oh, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yeah. My husband
can't watch that movie.
Yeah, so I am a little bit worried.
Accidents.
Yeah, I am worried about seeing Cillian that thin. You never want to see someone who you really love a lot and looking sickly, but hopefully he's hitting the chocolate hard now.
I think he looked okay in the movie.
Good, yeah. Well, no.
I haven't seen it, but from the previews, I thought
it was really skinny.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we want to review first, I guess, tomorrow. Let's go just knock out Tales of Tomorrow, shall we?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let's do Tales of Tomorrow
Get
first.
it together. Go for it.
Okay. If you're new around here, and there are a couple of new people, we're watching Tales of Tomorrow. It's a 1951, 1952 thing that was on ABC. Although, obviously, if you know your communication historiography, you know that most of the world didn't have a television in 1951, 1952. So I assume that many of these were viewed at the local cinema. However, we're reviewing them because Tales of Tomorrow is a beautiful exemplification of the relationship betwixt authors, people who actually write short stories, and corporations who hire teleplay people to make those beautiful short stories into celluloid beauty so you can appreciate it on television or on film. But the thing is that the corporation is completely separate here. The corporation is just there to tag along. And if you like what you see, you'll buy their products, but they don't muck about and interfere with the storytelling. And that can be quite an alien concept in our modern world today, because of course the corporations own all of the stories and they just keep remolding, regurgitating, and reinterpreting them. So if you're new, sit back and enjoy Tales of Tomorrow, which it has a restorative feeling for science fiction fans, geeks, and nerds alike. And this week, we watched The Bitter Storm. This is season 2, episode 19. It first aired on December 26, 1952, I believe on ABC, but as I said before, very likely, just at the cinema.
Sorry to interrupt, but that date is very important in reference to the episode. So December 26th, and the commercial in the beginning also notes the holiday season.
Yes, it most certainly does. So now, just for 2 wags of a puppy's tail, I'm going to ask Clubby to deliver the Tales of Tomorrow in the only way that it's properly done by Clubby.
Tales of Tomorrow.
Lovely. Sorry. Thank you, baby.
You can try again if you want.
Okay, so the summaries on IMDb suck. I cannot express how deeply they suck. So I just wrote like a little summary. So I don't have to copyright or do any sort of referencing here. This is just something I've written just quickly as I watched it. We happen upon a man and a woman in a living room. The man appears to be a cantankerous old scientist fussing with a failed experiment. He's a hermit, living in isolation on a remote island. His sister's husband has passed away, so she has brought her daughter, and they are now living with him. So they have no income, so they're living with this professor, her brother. He confesses that he lives alone due to the theft of his research. So not only is he an inventor, but a bit of an innovator. He speaks of having ideas from improving vacuum cleaners and so on and so forth. He has them
Vacuum
stolen.
tube, sorry.
Yeah, stolen by folks. So it gives you an idea that this isn't. He's not a dreamer. So this is written by Armand Alacino. I probably just butchered that, but I don't care. And so I thought that was kind of a great part of this, of how this is written, because it indicates that this professor is not a dreamer. This is a person who is a practical person who is capable of marketing his ideas, and they're quite useful. So it's a great way to demonstrate what kind of a professor he is right off the hop. The woman's daughter and her boyfriend show up to the island. It's quite a dangerous thing to do because there is stormy weather and horrible seas outside, and somehow they manage to get onto the island. The professor leaves the room, and they play with his experiment, turning it on, turning it off, trying to get it to work while he's out of the room. He catches them, and he gets very angry. He speaks of some of his stolen inventions, as I said before, and this time he's speaking of it in the way of, respect me. I have created some things here. Don't break my things. His niece asks the scientist to explain his machine. And the scientist says that the machine can catch all sounds from the past, no matter how far back, from the atmosphere, apparently.
What? Wow, that was an unexpected raspberry.
It dials the deep past, and upon hearing the garble, his sister becomes hysterical and she faints. The sister will not reveal what she has deciphered from the garble. She tells the scientist to search his heart and ask himself why he couldn't understand the garble. The sister asks her daughter to pick up the Bible and to read it to her, to comfort her. Steve, the daughter's boyfriend, takes off, just leaves. He quits the hut, the little house, and we don't know why. The sister starts quoting the Bible. The mother asks the daughter to recite the word of Christ, the words of Christ on the cross. I grew up in quite a religious home, so that's a very familiar thing. Especially, we studied this specifically in, I believe it was grade 9 Bible school. The boyfriend returns, and he wants to take them off the island. Of course, the weather is worsening. The professor turns on the machine, and now he can hear and decipher the garble. So he hears the garble and is able to decipher it. It is the trial of Christ that they're overhearing, but all we hear is garble. So all the audience hears is garble. So this is quite something to do to the audience, because it's as though you're saying to the audience, you hear, but you don't understand. Okay. The brother and the sister recount scripture together, and the daughter joins in. And this is where I get a little bit upset, because, I am agnostic, but I was raised a devout Christian, and I went to Christian school. So not just Catholic school, but like Christian school.
Mm-hmm.
They hear the voice of God. And you don't know if it's Jesus or if it's the voice of God, but it's in Aramaic. and the window cracks. And then they abandon the island and the professor's work.
Right.
So, and the professor just says, look, I understand what's important in life now, and I'm leaving. And so, as a person who does not like this sort of thing, I find it sacrilegious. I really didn't like it. And I should say again that I am, as an adult, an agnostic. But that doesn't mean that I don't have respect for the things that I learned or the possibility. Just for myself, I cannot profess to know that which is unknowable. So I'm not about to go making fun of or disrespecting the things that I learned in Bible school, the things I learned in chapel, the things I learned in church, the things I learned in youth group, the things I learned in religion class. Yeah, I know that sounds like a lot. I went to a Christian school. So I didn't like this. And I think that this could have been done, but to give God or Jesus time. God is timeless. And you don't just dial God on a machine. I really didn't like this. I found this, like, in a religious way, I found it offensive. I think I know what they were trying to do, but I just didn't like it. So I gave it a 1 out of 10. They called God on this machine, and you don't know if it's Jesus or God, and he speaks in Aramaic, and yeah, didn't like it. So 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10 for me. That's it.
Did you notice the 2 Star Trek bad guys and
Yes.
and Joanne Woodward, a well-known the young one there would go on to be Joanne Woodward, a young lady, or well-known Hollywood actress.
Yeah.
Married to Paul Newman.
Yep, married to Paul Newman. They had 2 Star Trek baddies in this. They had Kodos the Executioner and Colonel Green, which is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying here. I kind of pick it up that they were picking up like sounds from the past, and it just so happened because it was a Christmas message. They were getting this was an embittered old man who didn't believe in redemption or forgiveness, and his sister was trying to teach him that, and so it's kind of hokey because it just so happens the one sound that he hears is probably Jesus or whatever talking about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to go and say there was at least a sound that occurred. Basically the episode's telling you that what happened with Jesus was real, and they picked up just Jesus's voice. Why would it be that go back that far?
Well, they did
that
pick up other voices.
I know, but eventually
times,
it went back and gave him the exact one he needed to hear. So it stops being science fiction there, more of a Twilight Zone. I mean, it's perfect Twilight Zone fodder. It's telling you that psychologically this guy has been given the lesson he needed to hear from Jesus himself, which to me actually works as an interesting psychological study from a Twilight Zone type story, like a Rod Serling might do it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as a pure science fiction story, it loses that. It
does, especially when they assert that every sound that has ever occurred in history remains in the clouds, in the atmosphere, and it can be summoned at any time. And that's why I blew a raspberry, because it's like, what?
It's crazy.
But
and also, like,
I
get sort of scared with this kind of stuff. Well, not scared, but it's just like, I don't think, like, I cannot impress upon folks as much as as I possibly can about chapel and Bible study and youth group and church and so on and so forth, the type of upbringing that I had. But for me, it's just that God is timeless, and you cannot dial God in the past and speak to God. God will speak to you whenever he likes. And and God will dial you. You don't get to dial God in the past and hear his exact words as his only son is crucified on the cross. So I didn't like that aspect of it. I found it insulting.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't work as science fiction, because you can go, wait a minute, it just doesn't. Again, a psychological fantasy drama like something that Serling would do. Mm-hmm. Yes, because it was the exact message the guy needed to hear, and he believes that his machine had God give him a telephone call and told him to set him on the right path. That works for something like that. It doesn't work for what's supposed to be a cold science fiction story. I'm totally with you. I'd probably give it about a 2 or 3 for that.
Yeah.
Marco?
I really liked it. I had kind of the opposite reaction. I thought some of the messaging was a little hokey, but I would give it an 8. In science, rays travel out. When you're looking at stars, you're looking at thousands and thousands of years in the past, and they conceive the same thing with radio waves or radio frequencies.
Zillions,
so,
but yeah.
But so you could theoretically be watching. And I think one of was it Galaxy Quest was joking about that too. They're watching the TV show years ago. The signals go out. So it's and this is more of this felt definitely like a Twilight Zone episode to me.
Like a fantasy.
I thought it was Twilight Zone. I thought the bad guy, I'm like, why can I recognize him? I thought he was played the devil in the Twilight. I love that Twilight Zone episode where the devil gets trapped by the staff. And I'm forgetting the name of that episode of the Twilight Zone, but this is cloth is cut definitely from the Twilight Zone. So I think some of there's Caridian, so some of the message is a little hammers you a little bit too hard, but I get what they were going for, and I think that it's a Christmas episode, and the message is trying to tell people that you can forgive people, and it's and they're actually just hearing what happened in the past too, so it's not God or Jesus talking directly to them. They're just happening to pick it up somehow with this invention. So I think
huge coinky dink.
Yeah, but that's the Lord works in mysterious ways. Said so.
Well, no, because then you would have to say that it is the Lord, right?
You could, or it could just be a coincidence. It could just.
And why
be a
did
fluke
they have to use the guy that uses the name? And this is the thing. This is my issue with Star Trek, is that like his name is Butthole, right? In Star Trek. Why'd they use the guy that they called Butthole?
Who? What?
This is why you never use.
Who called him what now?
Well, Kolos.
Who called him Butthole?
Well, that's his name in the show. Anyway, in Greek it means like your actual butthole.
No, we didn't catch that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but I'm just saying. It just doesn't work for me. Because if it were so convenient, they wouldn't be looking into the past. It would be direct contact with the Lord.
I know. I like what they're trying to do. I like the messaging. Almost, it's nowhere near as great as that Christmas episode with Art Carney becoming Santa Claus. Oh, Phantom says, the Howling Man. Yeah, thank you for that, Phantom. Yeah.
Howling Man. Thank you. That is a great one.
Yeah. But I mean, I get what they're going out to do, but again, they're limited in terms of the time to kind of flesh the story out a little bit more. Maybe they could have explained it. We're trying to, if you could time travel, right? That's one of the first places I would go, would be back to that time period to see, see some of the prophets or famous religious people. That's what Indiana Jones would do, right? Oh God, I should have mentioned that new movie, Going Back in Time. I apologize, Captain Infinity, if you're out there. But yeah, I mean, we think about it. They could have just added a couple of lines like, let's try to go back to the this year and see what we can listen to. They never explained the machine, so some of the messaging, I agree, is a little bit hokey and a little. Well,
not only that, why would you abandon the machine that was able to locate the words of God?
I think he realizes he doesn't need that anymore. He's found other meaning in life and doesn't need this material machine, and he can recreate. He should be able to recreate it.
But now he's not going to go to heaven.
Well, we don't know that.
Blessed are those who have seen and yet who have not seen and yet believed. You don't have to see. It's sacrilegious to say that you need proof of God before you change.
Well, the nuns would agree with you there, I have to say. So, but I mean, that's what I always get mad at people like Christmas Mass. Everyone would try to get in the front row. I'm like, well, why do you need to be in the front row? God's invisible, right? Who cares where you sit? But there is something glorious about the Christmas Mass. But
I'd agree with you totally if this were a Twilight Zone episode. In fact, I just don't think it's really a science fiction story as much as a Christmas story.
Yeah.
fantasy, like a psychological drama, like a Twilight Zone would do.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of these episodes that were more equipped for that than a straight science fiction show. I'm just saying, as a science fiction show, it's asking you to stretch a little bit farther and go. The one sound he just picks up was the one he needed to hear, and from God, quote, God or Jesus.
Yeah.
I find that a little stretchy. I didn't find the episode unentertaining or bad anyway. I'm just thinking it doesn't really, as far as science fiction story goes, didn't convince me as much. I didn't hate it or anything. I just didn't think they really did a good job on the writing for me.
Yeah,
personally.
and the concept of religion or the afterlife or God, I don't think is suitable to this show. And I do think that if if you're going to do something like that, it's best to get somebody from theology in to give you a hand, like Jerry B. Jenkins and Tim LaHaye, and in their Left Behind series, their book series. I read that entire book series, and that really shows how religion can blend with science fiction and sort of give you an idea of how they think prophecy will unfold and the later books of the Bible and how those will take shape, right, until God appears again. So it can be done, and I'm not against it. As a matter of fact, I'm a huge fan of it. I have all of my Left Behind books, all of them, and I have them in trade back as well as hardcover. I just think that if you're going to do something like that, you have to get somebody from theology in and make sure that you're not contradicting the actual teachings, because I find there's some contradiction here. So I couldn't get into it because I kind of found it sacrilegious. So I couldn't get into it because it wasn't science fiction, and I couldn't get into it because it wasn't religious enough. So it was just kind of silly to me. And so I kind of, for me, yeah.
I assumed you wouldn't like it too. So on that front, I predicted correctly.
Yeah.
I said this is not going to be Raquel's cup of tea for this episode, but
yeah. Have you read the Left Behind series?
The what?
Have you read the Left Behind series?
No, I haven't read that. No.
Two scholars of theology, Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. They wrote a marvelous series covering pretty much the entire New Testament and how to help
Revelations.
And to help people not only to visualize how things are going to happen, but anyways, it's just really well written, and it doesn't defy scripture, and it's non-denominational. So I give it a high recommendation if you would like to see something like what you saw tonight, like in this Tales of Tomorrow episode, but you'd like to see it in a way in which I go, wow, that's really beautiful. That is a wonderful rendering of scripture. That is a beautiful way to imagine what is possible if God comes back or when God comes back. Then I would recommend that, not this SHIT.
Wow.
I'm going to call it SHIT.
I would either, but still.
So anyway, highly recommend. Get the Left Behind series, man. Read the whole thing. Read the whole thing.
Wasn't it like the 90s or something?
Yep. Yeah, really good. And both of those scholars, biblical scholars, they do a fantastic job of turning the entire the entire idea of the rapture, of the return of God, what's going to happen to regular human beings. It is conveyed in such an intellectual, beautiful, and diligent, studious, scholarly way that I've actually even recommended those books to folks who I know who are atheists. So they're that well written. You pick them up and they're just a joy to read. I would read a single book in a 5-hour sitting. Just so good.
Turing Machine, hello there.
Hey, Turing.
Yes, indeed. Well, there you go. So what did you rate again, Mark? You gave it an 8.
I gave it an 8.
I think I'm going to be fair and go more closer to a 5 because the idea was good. I don't think they handled it particularly poorly. I just think that it was not really the kind of story for this show. And you, number one, were at a 3, did you say?
No, a 1.
2, right?
A 1? Okay, wow.
A 1.
Gotcha.
A 1, yeah.
You sound as bad as me last week. Was it? I think I gave something like a 1.
Well, I have to stick up for God. You don't dial God up and just...
You don't ask the Almighty for his ID? What is just because excuse me, what does God need with a starship?
That's right.
Hey, If anyone asks if you're a god, you say yes.
Yes, Ray. When anyone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. Oh,
Every
dear,
single
oh,
Bible
dear.
teacher that I've ever had in my life, every single youth group, every single pastor, every single priest, every single nun, every single father that ever taught me anything is very proud of me tonight. So I'm sticking to
Absolutely.
my
Yeah.
guns. 1 out of
You're
10.
not getting smacked with the ruler by the nuns. Yeah.
Nope.
And I want to go buy some Maslin carpets now. I mean, after these commercials are just so luxurious. I mean, it's just this guy is such a great presenter. It's like he's your best bud.
Smooth, isn't it?
Pop Culture Republic, we had no choice because tonight's Tales of Tomorrow was actually a gentleman creating a machine where he called upon the Lord as he was on the cross. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Is what Christ uttered before he was taken up.
Right, it was a story that she was. Right, that's what we're reviewing that episode tonight. So
yeah. So it came at us from left field. It's not something that we were even expecting. It really, we were like, "Whoa, what's this all about?" So yeah. So just an honest review of what was presented.
Hey, Warrior of Justice, what's up? Okay, so JT Kirk said he gave you put yours in there. You put yours in there twice. I think he said F. He gave it an F. Wow. They breen the audience. They breen? That's the breen? Indiana Bones rules your eardrums should blow out or you shatter completely apart by the sound waves. I got you, I think. I'm going to go ahead and just say. And then our buddy Simply Steve gave it a 4 out of 10. So there you go. He wasn't too thrilled with the episode himself.
Yeah, it's weird. That's not what you're expecting for Tales of Tomorrow, which is supposed to be science fiction. Ravenscroft, good night. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night, Ravens. Yeah, good night, Ravens.
Mighty Orbots. Say, sleep sweet. I really love that new saying.
Mighty Orbots, good to see you.
Hey!
Good to see you all.
Oh, Turing Machine, that's wonderful. In you embrace religion in a Lord of the Rings way. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I too am agnostic, but I believe that I should not believe things. But I'm kidding. I believe all kinds of things. All right, anyway, so I'll tell you what else I believe. It's time to review tonight's episode. Hey, Matt G, what's up? That's the name. It's Matt G, what's up? It's a new show we're reviewing. No, we're reviewing Jerry Anderson's UFO.
Larry, you are correct.
Get that ready.
And now you're starting to see why my rating was so low. Because lots of Bible study, lots of religion classes, and yes, that is exactly what would happen. You would not need to know Aramaic. It would not be garble. God is the ultimate universal translator. So you get a gold star, Larry.
He doesn't need a Babelfish.
That's right. God doesn't need Babelfish or Babelfish.
Let's see here. Comic Book Crusader. That's a good question. I think we've just been, I don't know why particularly, but when we do these, we give it like the 1 to 10 rating. Whereas, Saturday Night Star Trek, we're doing, A, B, C, D, and DF and such. I can't even tell you why we do it that way. We just do like UFO. I guess we'll do. What are we doing? AF? We've been doing 1 to 10, right? It's weird. I don't know why.
I think we've been doing A's and B's for UFO, but usually
UFO
gets an A plus. It's either between A or A plus plus or A plus
fine.
plus.
I don't know why. I don't even know why it turns out that way, Michael. It wasn't. Sorry, Comic Relief. I don't even know why. It just wasn't a plan. It just happens. I don't know. Michael Beacom says,
"Mystery of the Universe."
I love that one. The Stephen Wright one. Did you sleep well? No, I made a few mistakes.
Turing Machine, he says, religion is culturally significant, is what I meant. Yes, and it is culturally significant in The Lord of the Rings and certainly in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. These are marvelous books that should be read by one and all. I think they're quite edifying. Yeah. Beautiful books. Very well wrought.
Yep. Yeah. So tonight's episode, who's got it? Who has it? Should I get it? Should anyone else have it?
Well, do you have?
I've got the book.
Do you have the Bible of the other sort?
I'm talking about the pictures or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put that up. Yeah, I was just waiting. Yep, I shall.
I just meant the pictures.
Yeah. Yep. Let me change my camera settings here.
Bum,
So-
bum, bum, bum,
Bum bum bum.
Larry, why are you making me hungry? You know how much
do you do
I would
now?
love beer battered fish right now. And
I
then,
didn't mention food. Don't blame me.
and
Yeah,
then
it's about
Fanti makes
Mark.
it worse by talking about tartar sauce.
I hate tartar sauce. You keep
Yeah,
talking about
JT Kirk, I caught what you meant there. Yes, I do know what you mean. Breening the audience, scrambling the speech so the audience can't hear what's being said. Yes, it's to make the audience feel as though they're an outsider. So here the message was, you have heard the word of the Lord, and yet you have not understood it. So it's a challenge to the viewer to take the lesson into their heart after the program is complete. And I totally got what you meant about breening the audience.
it.
Kind of like the adults in Charlie Brown.
Yes.
Yes. What is the countdown for?
Oh, I can turn that up. That's when I do my watch party. I do a countdown.
Oh, okay. No, just cool.
Yep. Or count
All right,
up. So if people
folks,
tune
the
in, they
count
can
uppy. Okay, yeah.
count up. They can say,
Count
"Oh,
uppy.
I'm 1 minute into the episode." If they want to synchronize.
Time for some
Okay.
UFO goodness, folks.
So I'm reading from the book, The Complete Book of Jerry Anderson's UFO. Chris Bentley with forward by Ed Straker himself, Ed Bishop. So do we have the cover that we can pop on an overlay? I think we do, right? Or we don't?
I think we do.
Somewhere? Do we have the picture of that book?
Oh, no, I had to get rid of it because I needed space.
Oh, you
You
needed
didn't want to put
space.
it in there. I don't have it.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh.
Well,
that's
it's okay.
but-
All you have to
needed
do
my
is just
space.
say the name in order
Yeah,
to
it
be
just said the
copyright
name.
compliant.
All right, I'm taking my my glasses off.
Unless
so I
you
won't be able
have it
see
to put it
the
up
chat.
in there.
Well, I can put it back on, but then we need to delete something. So that
Well,
I'll just read.
Find something to delete.
You
No,
can
that's
delete
okay.
me.
No, he means a picture, but yeah.
I know.
Okay, so the episode this week, The Man Who Came Back.
You want to put one up there? I'm deleting something now.
Okay. Well, let me just keep reading, and then I'll find it.
Just put it up when
Oh,
you
actually, I
find
do.
it.
Yeah, let me see it.
It's close by.
Let me multitask. Let me multitask here.
The man who came
Turing,
back.
I absolutely love your comments. They're more than welcome, excellent, and marvelous, and not a rant, but simply wonderful. Thank you so much.
Always glad to have you here, Tori. Thank you.
Turing, I teach rhetoric at a college level. So rant is in order to rant, you have to go to a pretty high level for me. You know what I mean? Maybe Hitchens. You get to a Christopher Hitchens level. That could be a rant,
He never ranted.
especially when he had a cigarette.
He never ranted at all. It was all very even keel. He never even yelled or raised his voice at all. It was all very even keel. I said, Jerry Falwell, do you right-wing extremist versus I liked Christopher Hitchens, actually.
I absolutely love all of his books. And my favorite of all of his volumes is his collected works of essays.
Well, I can't find the title right now, so the cover, but I'll get it in a second. Why don't we'll read it? When you put stuff on your hard drive, like, where did I put it? What UFO folder did I put it in? Okay, so teleplays by Terrence Feely, directed by David Lane. As Colonel Craig Collins approaches Earth re-entering aboard Ship 534, Moonbase confirms a sighting of 3 UFOs, one of which suddenly changes course and opens fire on Sid, seriously damaging the satellite. And Sid, this is an aside, but Sid says, I've been, what does he say? I've been damaged, kind of like in a Hal voice where it slows down. It's sad and cute at the same time. Yeah. Collins fails to effect re-entry and is certified dead, but he turns up alive and well 2 months later on the island in the South Pacific, the ship having apparently crashed into the sea. Collins returns to Shadow HQ and Straker assigns him to the SID repair project under Colonel John Gray. On Moonbase, Collins attempts to resume his relationship with Colonel Lake, but he's now involved with Foster. That didn't take long. The guy was only dead for a few weeks and finds his
Well, they
advances
weren't that
repulsive.
serious. Slow your roll there, Buster Rooney.
Yeah, well, it is Colonel Lake. You're defending you're defending Foster now. Yeah. So Colonel Collins announces that he wants
Lake.
Oh, defending Lake. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to see a pro Foster stance here, but Collins announces that he wants Foster to partner him on the repair mission, and Gray agrees to the request, but tells Straker that he instinctively feels that there's something wrong with Collins. However, Collins is one of Straker's oldest friends, and he has faith in the doctor's reports that clear him for duty. Then Collins cuts off the oxygen supply to Gray's room while he's sleeping, but Gray wakes up in time and manages to escape suffocation. The next day, Collins drops a barbell on Foster during a weightlifting session. I will pump you up, cracking a rib and putting him out of action. The only qualified substitute for the mission is Straker. Gray warns the commander that he'll be risking his life if he partners Collins, but Straker's priority is to get Sid back into
That look
commission.
right there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that it?
There you go. That's it. Yep.
What a piece
Dr.
of
Jackson's tests on Collins. Oh, you found it. Good job. Dr. Collins' tests on Collins with an isolation device lead Gray to conclude that the alien snatched Collins in space, burned out the personality centers of his brain, programmed him so he could be controlled with radio waves, and sent him back to Earth to assassinate Straker.
Mm-hmm.
Gray confronts Collins at his apartment, but Collins attacks him and leaves him unconscious. That was aside. On the other side, why did Gray go? That was alone. That was silly. Straker and Collins are ferried by rocket into Earth orbit and rendezvous with Sid in the space module, leaving the ship to make the necessary repairs. Gray recovers consciousness in hospital and alerts Foster, who in turn warns Straker just in time for the commander to fend off an attack by Collins. They struggle and it appears that Straker will be overpowered, but Collins' true personality breaks through the alien programming at the last moment, enabling Straker to pull Collins' oxygen pipe loose from his spacesuit, killing him. So that's the synopsis. We've got notes. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the episode before I do the notes, or I'm going to keep going with notes.
Oops.
Mm-hmm.
We do have an oops down the road too.
Okay, I would like to hear the new oops, and if the boss would clear it, it would be. I would love to hear the notes. I don't know how everyone else feels, but my vote is notes and oops.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we want your notes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the notes
boss.
aren't too long here. Yep.
It's no hurry.
Notes are always pretty good in this book.
We ain't
yeah.
no hurry. Look, this is the clubhouse,
Yeah.
babe. That's what we're here for.
Just hang out. Yep.
Yeah.
In Terrence Freely's original script, the UFO attack on Sid did not come until 8 weeks after Collins had been lost during a previous UFO incident. One of the UFOs involved in the Sid strike is tracked to the South Pacific, where Collins is then found alive and well. Additional sequences filmed for this episode but dropped from the final edit include Colonel Gray more closely questioning Sir Esmond about Collins on the set of his latest film, and Collins involving Dr. Jackson and Shadow Medical Center, the hypnotic of the hypodermic of the amnesia drug. Foster's warning to Straker as Collins is about to attack him was a late addition in post-production as filmed. Gray was sedated before he could call Shadow. It was only by chance that Straker turned in time to fend off Collins. During the final fight with Straker, the hand that pulls out Collins' oxygen pipe was originally to be revealed as Collins' own, but the sequence was filmed with Straker's hand pulling the pipe out. That would actually have been, well, it could go both ways, which either way was tragic, but yeah. Colonel Gray's room in the sleep sphere is furnished with a Palatoy Action Man space capsule borrowed from the set of General Hendricks' IAC office. I did catch that. I did see that in the set there. That was very cool. Later in Collins' apartment, Collins knocks Gray out with a heavy rocket sculpture that was actually made from an Airfix Saturn V model kit painted silver.
I'm just glad it wasn't the stalagmite from never mind.
Never mind. I know what you meant.
What our little girl's made of.
Sorry.
Max! Max from Redstone's here.
Max.
Hey, Max, hope you're feeling
Max,
okay.
wait. Mark, hold on. Max.
She'll stop. Yeah.
Max, you're out of the hospital. He says, hey, all had surgery today, back home in a lot of pain, but I am recovering. We were just talking about you, honey.
Nice.
We were wondering how you're doing.
Feel better.
Yeah, buddy. Hope you feel better soon, bro.
So
like pain goes away.
About 12 hours ago, he must have had this surgery. Now it must be like 11 or 12 hours. Max, you need to rest and keep us all posted. Please go sleep and take whatever medication they gave you. I hope somebody is checking in on you.
Yes.
Go rest, sweetheart, please.
Get well, buddy. Get well soon.
Feel better. Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yes,
sorry,
Marie.
Mark.
Glad to hear from you.
No, that's okay. No, I'm glad because I can't really see the chat with my glasses off. So then I'm glad that Max popped in, is able to say hi. That's
I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad the surgery went well.
Take your mind off of things
indeed.
for a few minutes, hopefully.
Yeah, right, Mark.
Absolutely.
So okay, so they used the Airfix Saturn V model kit as a weapon. Yeah, the sequence of Sid 2 rocket launch and module separation are both lifted from Doppelganger, 1969, which is the movie. I think that's their Anderson movie that we have to watch that we haven't seen, precursor to UFO. Jeremy Wilkin can be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, yep. Jeremy Wilkin can be seen in his role as a launch technician in the shots of launch control. Footage of the ambulance rushing Colonel Gray to hospital is lifted from A Question of Priorities. Yeah, in TV shows they reuse whatever they can to save money. Yep.
Well, sure.
Modified Palitoy Action Man figures double for Straker and Collins as they're seen living the Sid 2 shuttle. Very cool. And the effects, I have to say, look great in this episode.
Yeah,
as always. Yeah,
they're amazing.
Top notch. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The character of Sir Esmond was based on real-life actor Esmond Knight, who lost one eye and was almost totally blind in the other during the Second World War, but did not let his handicap get in the way of his career. He appeared in such films as Sink the Bismarck, Robin and Marion, and continued acting right up to his death in early 1987, aged 81. And let's do the oops here. The footage of 3 UFOs flying in formation is lifted from the Dalatech affair. The alien jamming device from that episode appears as a point of light in the middle of the picture as the second UFO passes. Oh, I did catch that. I guess they figured you wouldn't notice that as reusing that. That's a pretty minor oops, I think. Yep. Major equipment, lunar module, Shad Air mobile transport aircraft. We've got 2 shadow cars, a shadow jeep, ship 534, which I think that's the first time you see that. Sid, of course, Sid 2 rocket, Sid 2 shuttle, Sky 1 space interceptors, and UFOs. So I really like this episode. I've been talking too much. You guys can talk about it, and then I can do the guest cast later to say what was who was guessing. But
my boy from
I love the love triangle was interesting too. So there's a lot going on in this episode. Straker, the love triangle, great effects. Those
Craig Collins
aliens.
is yucky.
He was pretty slimy on a Prisoner episode as well.
Yeah, not a good. So, like, tribute to him. He's a good actor because you hate his guts. You know.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I'll start. I love seeing Colonel Virginia Lake dressed for the guild. I love knowing that she's part of the guild. So I love seeing her like that. She's beautiful and it's really cool. I thought that the huge opening scene before the credits was delightful because not only do we have Virginia Lake as part of the guild, but we also have a UFO attack, a pilot on fire, and Sid, who looks mysteriously, not so mysteriously, like a dog, because everyone loves Sid. He gets hit by an omniceptor. So I thought that was an action-packed pre-credit thing, and I thought it was a stroke of genius.
Yes.
I like Holland. She's okay, but I prefer Miss Elin, and I miss her at this point, right? Because remember, this is season 1, episode 16. ITV 23, prod code 21. Craig Collins is alive, the man who came back. Now, some people might criticize this as an alien, your typical alien control plot, a trope in science fiction. However, I would strongly disagree with that as an academic and as an author and editor. I think this is more about how Straker is the kind of guy who will never say die for a friend. I think it's more about how Shadow and everyone involved in Shadow will stand behind the people who they know, and that it takes a lot for them to begin to suspect you. This isn't an organization that's like, like a conspiracy plot in The Next Generation, where suddenly you feel like everyone's turning on one another and everyone begins to suspect one another. It's not like that at all. In Shadow, people stand behind the people who they work with, the people who they know, the people who they love. And when I say love, of course, I mean in the Greek sense, where you have this friendship and you really love this person like a brother, and you know him, and you know what he's capable of, and it takes a lot for you to give up on that. You don't just turn on him immediately. So for that, I think it's quite good. John Gray and Craig Collins have fifis. They got serious beef. I like seeing this. As a Gene Roddenberry fan, I do like the fact that this show is more about spy, and it's more about space, and it doesn't focus so much on saying that not getting along isn't possible, because it's certainly possible here. We know automatically that Craig Collins has been sullied, of course, because right after finding out that he's fighting with John Gray, he's also fighting with Paul Foster. So now he has beef with everyone. And then, of course, he does the ultimate creepy thing. He hurts Colonel Lake. So he forces himself on her. And this goes as far as it could possibly go on television, but I think that it's done quite beautifully. I think it shows exactly what it's like to have a horrible person force themselves on you. It's very true to life, and it's just super scary, and I feel so bad for Colonel Lake. I, of course, really love the Charlie X grappling and the Charlie X chess. I like that I see Star Trek there. I see the influence of Star Trek there. Of course, this is 1971, so we would have already had Charlie X, and we're seeing that Collins isn't just intense; he's completely unhinged. I also love seeing Dr. Jackson. As everyone knows, I think it is absolutely incredible that he's given this preposterous name, and that everyone knows by this episode, production code 21 or ITV 23, like I originally watched it a few times. You know that there's no possible way that his name is Dr. Jackson, and you know that he is higher up in shadow than anyone on screen, including Hendo, the Admiral, Henderson, and definitely above all the colonels. And then I love watching Ed kick ass. I love watching him struggle and kick an ass. So I like the theme, which is blind loyalty is dangerous. So being able to back the people who you know and love, and being on Moonbase, it's basically like you're in I'm going to quote the comic book that I read today. It's basically like you're in a small town where everybody gets to know everybody's business, and you become sort of like a family. So you have to balance that with when somebody becomes a troublemaker. When do you come down on them? You can't automatically turn your back on them. So I disagree with people who criticize this episode as an alien control plot. I really feel like the overarching theme, the main theme of this episode is these relationships. We have to be loyal, and we love people, and we especially love our friends, sometimes even more than family members. But blind loyalty is dangerous, and definitely Ed Straker learns that lesson here. Yes, you entrust your life to these people because you're doing the most dangerous job in the entire world, protecting Earth, billions of people from these aliens. And so there can't be any backbiting. There can't be any, jealousy. And, I don't like Paul Foster because he has expressed jealousy toward Ed Straker before. But here in this episode, we have this very adult content. Blind loyalty is dangerous. So be loyal, but don't be a nincompoop. And so I really enjoyed the episode.
Great one. I did wonder about one thing. What happened to Dr. Jackson? They don't tell us.
Yeah. Did he die?
Did he go kill the guy? Did what's his face kill him? I mean, I guess maybe he might be in another episode after this, which will be fine, but we'll see. I can't remember.
I highly doubt that he was able to kill Dr. Jackson.
I don't know. Maybe.
But why would he? And why didn't he kill the other? Why didn't he kill?
He didn't finish him off. Well,
yeah. Maybe that was his human control exerting influence.
Because of they say that, and none of these are aliens, so it's different. But they say if there's something that's so counter to your nature that you won't do it, you can't do it even while you're hypnotized.
Yeah.
At certain points, I mean, maybe they couldn't force him to do that, but
yeah.
I love the episode. It's just incredibly entertaining. It's really the stuff that you're talking about the friendship factors. One of the strongest things about the episode for me as well. The guy, of course, was in a prisoner episode. Darren Nesbitt there was in It's Your Funeral, episode of The Prisoner. But the scene with the old man, that was creepy. The blind old man, stuff like this.
That was well
Oh,
done.
that
Yeah.
was super creepy.
Boy, that was something, wasn't it? And yeah, it's just so well done. The show's always so subtle, always so intelligent. And yeah, Straker was. It's interesting. Straker was starting to do some of the Kirk Gary Mitchell stuff going on between the two,
Yeah.
but eventually he didn't have the kind of build up and warning that Kirk had with Gary
It's
Mitchell.
true.
So it's not the same deal. However, there's a similarity to it. It's just that, Gary Mitchell flat out told him eventually, Kirk, what's going on.
Yeah.
Stryker doesn't get that.
No.
So it's a very tense, very suspenseful bit where, we know that Stryker's in trouble, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going to happen? I guess he left this guy alive who he doesn't even like.
Yeah.
Because it was not in his nature to go all the way to finish him, because he could have easily finished him.
Yeah.
I think they probably should have told us that Dr. Jackson was okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We don't know now.
Yeah.
So
It's
maybe
true.
that was a mistake. Maybe that was an oops. I don't know. But regardless, this is a brilliant episode. Just another. The show does it so well. It's funny how I could sit there. I watched a certain other piece of trash this morning that I won't say what it is, around 2 o'clock in the morning, that lasted an hour.
Yeah.
It felt like 5 hours. What's the running time on this one?
I forget.
47 minutes.
I think it's like
give or take.
42 minutes.
Okay,
or
a little
something.
bit, about an hour or so before that, I watched this at 47 something minutes, and it flew by.
Yeah.
And there's no action to speak of. There's not a bunch of there's no phony drama, nothing that's trying, like, how they're trying to get you in and out of the episode in quick by just doing quick cuts and a bunch of phony fee crap. It just it still moves better. It was more smoothly, and yet so much more fascinating than certain other pieces of modern trash that don't have the ability to be subtle or to tell you any kind of intelligent story anymore. So, and I love, one of my favorite bits of the episode was this right here, when Dr. Jackson is explaining his theory. This is a great scene right here.
Yeah.
Right. This is a great scene
really
right
well
here.
done. Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, it's fascinating. It's not even. Obviously, I don't know what even I, who knew nothing about such things, I'm kind of understanding what he's talking about right here. And it's just a brilliant concept.
Mhm.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just so amazing to see. And I'm glad we got shows like that back then. We're never going to get this ever again, folks. Never.
Yep.
Not even close.
I like that you brought up the Gary thing, because I see the same things here, and it's crazy because Kirk and Ed, they both are dealing with alpha male, and it's so funny that we see those Charlie X moments with the chess and with the grappling, because what we're truly seeing is a man who has it all. He helped to build Sid. He helped to plan and build Sid. He has a brilliant mind, and he's friends with the founder of Shadow, and so uncovering him as being taken over or unwell or beyond what would be appropriate for his behavior is testable, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
and sometimes these alpha people, alpha males and alpha females, they can be too much. They can be obnoxious. And so where do you draw the line? And so when John Gray has to go and say to Straker, what am I supposed to think about this? I really liked how they played the audio of Straker speaking to Gray as Gray decided to make his next move to escalate some type of control against Craig Collins. So I found that really, really cool and really, really interesting. And you have to say that Anderson watched We're No Man. He must have watched Charlie.
Oh, yes.
He must have.
Yeah.
And this is homage. Like it's the same ideas, but they're so different, and yet they're so similar because a man isn't all brawn and a man isn't all brain. When you get into these situations, and I really like it specifically that Ed says, we trained as astronauts together, really driving home that science fiction. And you're really driving home just how special these people have to be. You can't just be a colonel. You have to be something special. And so we know that Craig Collins is very special. And unfortunately, he's also one of those alpha males. And so he's harder to take down because it's harder to decipher whether or not what he's doing is some form of mania or just him being his regular obnoxious self.
Indeed.
Yeah. Anyway, I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I thought
cool
that isn't Michael Collins the commander of Apollo? The mission to the moon wasn't. I wonder if that was an homage too. You know,
I don't know.
for the Apollo missions. Yeah, Collins. You know,
Could well
just
be.
coincidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, the subtlety of this episode is what's so good, because at every UFO episode, because the end, there's no great explanation, or hey, didn't you realize that he used his
You don't
mind
get
to
that.
overwhelm?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no talking in hallways for a half hour about how they
I'm afraid of mac
how they're
and
feeling.
cheese.
Your favorite mac and cheese. I gotta clip that, and if we don't allow that show on there. But anyway,
Ugh.
but yeah, it's just so subtle and so well done, and not over explained. I mean, the only thing,
Yeah.
did the doctor live? Maybe was only a question, but it's such a creepy idea too, because how devious is that by the aliens, that they can take a person who's high ranking, and they're planning this out too. So they're scheming too. They know they've got to get to Straker somehow. And to do that, they go after one of his best friends. And like, as you mentioned, the intro is just so well done. There's so much information packed in there. You find that he said, Straker hears the number of the ship. So he says, is that Collins on there? He's like, oh, he's one of my best friends. And, you get all that information. I want to talk to him when he lands, and then the UFOs attack, and then Sid gets hit. So there's a lot, as you said, going on. That was a great
How
intro
about
to
Virginia
the
Lake,
episode.
the member of the guild? She looked good
Yeah,
in that purple wig,
she looked
man.
great.
She
Yeah,
looked great in silver. She
yeah.
looked hotter than
Mhm.
heck.
Always.
And then his lines too in the spaceship is kind of fun, kind of funny to Collins. He's basically they've got something going on pretty quickly, and then of course when he's rescued, he's like, I've got some business to complete up there, and you don't know, you just think he's back, and then you realize what's happened, what's happened to him. And then the doctor is just so smart too to figure that. Although I think with that warning sign, you'd think he would have said something, but again, he was having the computers look at it, and it didn't make sense. And he was acting for the most part normally too, right? I mean, he wasn't. Other that you don't know what happened to Colonel Lake, so she should have reported that too. As the doctor, or was it Doctor or the Gray says, you've got an obligation to let me know, and she just says he's just not himself, but she doesn't say how she was attacked. Oh, and the other thing too with the rivalry with Gray, they didn't like each other from the start.
They didn't.
And they pack that in, without a big long explanation, real quickly. They don't like each other. And Straker has that great line where he says, "Don't let your personal judgment, or beliefs cloud your feelings, cloud your decision," which is, as you said, they replay that over so skillfully in that edit there.
Well, Gray is a nerd, right? Like he's a nerd, and so he goes and he tattletales. So in those opening scenes when he's sitting in with Straker, he's whining, like he's complaining, right? He went like a nerd does, because a nerd doesn't want confrontation, not physical confrontation, and certainly not yelling and screaming. Nerds run from that. I can tell you that because I'm a nerd. I run away from conflict. I don't like conflict, and I definitely don't like any type of yelling and screaming. And so he went in to quietly complain about Collins before anything even started. So that tells us a lot about John Gray too. And some people might think, oh, he's a wimp or whatever. He's not a wimp. He's just a nerd. He's a guy who follows channels, doesn't like confrontation, and he knows that Craig Collins can be explosive. He knows that Craig Collins is an alpha male. He knows that he's going to do over the top crap and do some backslapping with the boys and make it all okay. And when he does that, he gets away with more. And so you can't really look at what John Gray does and think, oh, you know, well, he's a little bitch. He's not like a little wimpy bitch. He's actually like a person who's just trying to follow the rules. But managing an alpha male or managing an alpha female, it can be quite a feat because they're popular, they're powerful, and that backslapping, it works. Until it doesn't work, right? And so we see the value in John Gray's behavior, the same as we see value in Craig Collins' behavior, and everyone knows a John Gray, and everyone knows a Craig Collins.
I know a lot of alpha males, right? Clobbering times.
It's clobbering time. Yes. Lisa,
I'd like to get back to what
hey, Lisa's here, and Dad
Lisa.
Man's
Hey guys.
Hello,
Hey, Lisa.
Dad Clan. I
Good
want
to
to
see
get
you,
back to
Lisa.
something that Clobby was talking about earlier, or
Yay.
maybe it was you, Mark,
Yay.
about how okay, well, you didn't say this, but you sort of said this, and I think it's fascinating the result in pop culture and in social ecosystems now, how much impact didacticism, corporate didacticism, has had on the public. The public is watching things made by corporations now that are only there to admonish them, to correct them, and instruct them. And it has such a stranglehold on culture that when you're given something as beautiful, intellectual, and free as UFO, you realize that everything you imbibe should give you something a little left over to chew on. You should not leave with every single thing, every question you have answered. We're and this is why before, like when we all first started hanging out, I was saying, this isn't good. Not only is it propaganda, but it has this residual effect of infantilizing the public, and treating the public like children, and so the public begins to crave being told the ways that they're bad and how they can correct it, and what is right thinking, what is, what's double plus good, and how they can be double plus good. And it's working, isn't it? It's working when people read books and watch television programs and watch films, and there's nothing left for them to consider, only how they must model their behavior after the corporate demand. It's mind-blowing to me listening to you and Clobby as you guys reflect on this corporate garbage you guys watch so that you can review it. And then watching you enjoy something that you actually care about and that you actually love, because you're both articulating how awful and suffocating it is to not be treated the way that you should be treated as a reader, as a viewer, right? So I just wanted to mention how much I appreciate that, because I think it sends a strong message to people who listen to our program that don't let that didacticism change who you are, Anyway.
Absolutely. Matthew Pounder, good to see you.
Matthew.
And Lisa and Dad, man. Hey, no, exactly. What you're saying is exactly right. I mean, you hate to sit through that crap. But I gotta admit, it's not because we so much want to, but it is a certain curiosity. It's still got that label on it. You want to be able to talk about it and know what's going on in it. At least that's the way Mark and I approach it. But still, it also does one other thing. It does indirectly and certainly unintentionally. It definitely makes you appreciate how good other things were, where you may have taken them for granted a bit. And I do. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's just that stuff is so bad that it makes mediocre stuff look better." I tend to slightly disagree. I think it makes you appreciate good stuff more, because there was a time when there was such a I guess a generous, copious amount of good to really good things out there.
I
Flawed,
agree.
sure. That there was so much great stuff. There's some of the stuff that was not quite as good, but still interesting, still of
Yeah.
value, may
Yeah.
not measure it up a little bit. And now when you get into the desert, which you're in now, and you
Mhm.
get that instead of getting that big gigantic gallon of Gatorade or wonderful ice water, but you're still getting a little cup of water here that's pretty good. It does tend as opposed to the trash, you get a cup of sand from
Mhm.
modern corporate crap. All it does, because I'm starting to reject now that thing like, oh, it's just because people are saying, look, it's just that stuff is so bad now it makes bad stuff look good. No,
No,
but I do agree that it does make you appreciate
it
Yep.
does.
the stuff that might not have been as great as the Treks or the UFOs or whatever, or the Doctor Who's. It makes you appreciate the good earnest efforts to entertain and to be interesting, even if they were flawed.
I
I think
agree
it
with
does
you.
do that.
I agree with you. And I think that people are only saying that because they don't have the education or the means at which to articulate this colossal change in our culture, because corporations are significantly changing our culture. And I really like what you were saying earlier, like using like water and sand to describe it. It's kind of like steak, isn't it? I really love steak. I think steak is fabulous. But if all you've ever known is somebody else chewing your steak and then giving it to you, how much are you going to love steak? And so yeah, it's just I think that people are only now starting to realize that it's not just corporations are trying to control arts and culture. It's that they've already changed the expectations to the degree that they're breaking the audience. The audience now only goes there to sup the mush. They only go there to sup the pablum, and they're even unwilling to do the work unless all the work is done for them, and it is described and unpacked for them so entirely that they've received their instructions. And I think it's really scary. Corporations are changing arts and entertainment, and they're even changing the demand, what people expect, and even how they define arts and entertainment. I think I agree with you, Clobby, and I think 30 years ago, if you would have told someone that corporations would be hiring corporate teams of writers who were going to get down to the business of improving ESG scores and DEI metrics, and that they were going to be redoing everything, and that it was going to be under this corporate idea, I think people would have said you were nuts. I think people would have been shocked that they ever allowed that to happen. And yet we have. People have allowed it to creep in. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I forgot something. We forgot
What'd you
to rank
forget?
the episode. We forgot to rank the episode.
Oh, yep.
Oh yeah.
Oops. But no. But what you're saying, what you're saying there is yes. I think it help as bad as things are. Watching new trash. I'm not saying go watch new trash. I mean, believe me, I got to admit it to a certain curiosity. You sit through that stuff, and I've always said I can sit through any old drivel. But if you don't have the patience or the time for it, I say don't do it. So hey,
Yeah.
do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it does when you do sit through it. It does give you an appreciation for the better days, and that's
Are you talking that
it's melon
animated thing we started watching last night?
Not just that. No, actually, no. I'm
In
talking
general,
about,
though, but
no, I'm
okay.
talking about most modern stuff. That doesn't even come close.
yeah.
No. I'm talking about, strangled worms, stuff, and anything that has been destroyed by modern corporations, as Raquel keeps referring to them as. For example, the great Chris Gore and his channel, Film Threat. For the past few months, they've been putting Star Wars on trial, like Disney Star Wars, and they made they made it like a courtroom with they're doing really like to look like a really elaborate court case over the course of a couple of months with defense, with prosecution, with witnesses and jury and all that stuff, litigating. And they just finished it up the other day. I didn't get to see what the verdict was yet. Maybe someone here's seen it already.
I know what the verdict is, but
okay,
yeah.
okay, cool. Well, the next one they're doing a Star Trek. They voted with the next one, and again, it's like real court proceedings, and it's really fun. They've been doing it over the course of a few months. just have a little fun. I mean, so we can't get good Star Wars, man. We'll have a little fun doing something else, right?
Yeah.
That's what fans are. Fans are resourceful. Even if their franchise is dead, they'll find some way to have a little fun with it, right? And but I think it just shows that fans will find a way and to enjoy something, at least to do with their dead franchise. But I'm not saying go back and support the stupid ass dead franchise. Please don't. All I'm saying is, if you do watch that stuff, it certainly gives you, if you didn't have enough appreciation, it gives you a little bit more for how beautiful it was, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, and so many of them have fallen. But fans will always rise to that. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's wrap this up.
Why don't I do the guest cast real quick too? Because
I'm sorry, I totally forgot. I thought we were done. Let's finish up with UFO.
Yeah, well, the cast, yeah. So Darren Nesbitt, Colonel Collins. I'll just read a couple of things he was in.
The Prisoner,
Night to Remember, H.G. Wells' Invisible Man, Adventures of William Tell, Danger Man, The Saint, Doctor Who, the Marco Polo series, Where Eagles Dare, Naked Runner, Monte Carlo Bus, Playbirds, episode of The Prisoner, which you mentioned, The Persuaders, Protectors, Return of the Saint, and Bergerac. Colonel Gray, Gary Raymond made his film debut in Moonraker in 1958. Also seen in Look Back in Anger. Let's see, El Cid. Oh, Jason the Argonauts, 1963. Greatest Story Ever Told, 1965. Let's see. He was in Rat Patrol, the BBC series. Let's see. He was also in Persuaders and Hammer House of Horror. Let's see. Let me skip through. I don't need to read everything. He was in Thunderball.
Hammer House of Horror. That's that cartoon we watched together, or Claymation, or whatever the heck it was.
Which one?
Well, that was a TV series, Hammer House of Horror.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
you're thinking about that Monster Party.
You're thinking about the Mad Monster Party.
Yeah, Monster Party. Yeah. Yeah, Matthew Pounder. Yeah, lots of prisoner stuff. Hey.
Of course, always. They were made. The place was made. The show's made the same place, pretty much. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
He was also in the Avengers. And Lois Maxwell, of course, we all know as Miss Moneypenny.
I think she's Miss Moneypenny even in this. She's just moonlighting. Every now and then, MI5 send her over to Shadow. They know each other. They work together. I know Straker and Bond know each other. There's no question about it.
For sure, yeah. And she's also
remember Straker went undercover at that. He went undercover in an episode in the movie Diamonds Are Forever, working.
That's right.
Working as a scientist, pretending to be a scientist at that that place, and working for what's his name. Anyway,
who was the villain in Diamonds Are Forever?
He wasn't the villain, but he was. They thought he was,
but he was in the complex. Yeah,
but he's working for that guy's complex. That was Straker with a wig.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray Lucard, welcome.
Ray Lucard, hey there.
Yeah, she was also, of course, in the Avengers. The Saint.
Okay, Michael Beacom, take it easy tonight, buddy.
Good night, Michael Beacom.
Appreciate it.
And so we all know her. Nancy Nevison.
Be seeing you.
Be seeing you. Collins Housekeeper, voiced the title character, and The Adventures of Twizzles. She's also been seen in, Raise the Titanic. Oh, that was a great book to read as a kid. And The Saint. She made uncredited appearances in Confetti Check OK and The Sound of Silence. He later played a main mission operative throughout the first season of Space 1999. Ronna Newton-John, the nurse, is the sister of singer Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, wow.
There we go. That's always fun to I can put the book away, take my gloves off now. We did. And the next week's episode, Feather Duster. Next week's episode is the Psycho Bombs.
Cool. She's in that one. So, rating number 1. What was your rating on this?
A+++.
Got you covered. I'm gonna go myself with a big A+. And Mark.
Yep. So I'm gonna give it an A+ as well. So it's just the ratings of these episodes. It's between A+. I mean, they're all so well done. It's
if anyone wants to give a rating, let us know.
Yeah, if you want to give a rating, please do. Lisa's having a great time. I love Lisa's commentary in the chat.
What happened? Oh.
Nothing. She's just being her cutie patootie self. Her normal cutie patootie self.
I didn't realize I took you out of the chat, Mark, when I did that earlier. I'm sorry. I thought that was... Sorry.
No, it wasn't me. You know, it wasn't the engineer changing things, at least, right? You know, so
for a change. Yeah.
That's all good. So you know, stuff
All right.
happens. I'm not gonna ask for your agonizer, right?
I'm just looking back at all of my
Agonizer,
ratings.
You're looking
I'm
back.
sorry, Captain, but
Yeah, I only have one bad
not a
rating.
magician.
Shit.
Yeah,
What's
there's no
that?
bad rating to this one. Yeah. Really,
I
right?
have
mean,
Ordeal. I gave a bad rating to, but I always do.
Really?
Yeah, well,
what was the rating on that one? Is it a
it's
B?
a C minus.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
Which was Ordeal? What was Ordeal about?
That's a Paul
That was-
Foster episode.
Oh, that's why. There we go. Paul Foster bias. Raquel is not going to be the president of the Paul Foster fan
That is
club.
true. That is true.
Yeah.
How do I get my names back up there?
Oh, I'll do that. Yeah, yeah. You just scroll all the way to the top. You got to scroll on
I
brand.
know that
You gotta
part.
go.
Oh, I did it. I did it right then. Okay.
Yeah, you go all the
Oh,
way
Alan
to the top.
Turing
Yeah.
Machine. I am so happy that you are going to binge all of these. You're going to have a marvelous
Oh,
time.
cool. Yeah.
Very cerebral, enjoyable,
Yeah.
sexy show with a mix of very intelligent science fiction mixed with just sexy, amazing spy. It's James Bond meets Star Trek, the best Star Trek, of course, TOS. So
Yes.
it's so enjoyable. You're going to have the time of your life. Enjoy.
Indeed.
I
it's
do a
just-
watch party every Thursday night just before this show too. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
welcome to join in the watch party too. We had a bunch of people hanging out there watching the episode before. So, but it's pretty easy to get UFO these days on Tubi and different sources. But I really got to get that Blu-ray set someday, so I can
It's
get it in
so
high
much
def.
money. I want the
I know.
book and you want the Blu-ray. But well, I want the Blu-ray too, but I want the book first. But the book is almost $1,000 in Canada, so it's going to be a strong pass.
Damn it. Damn it.
Damn it,
All right. So let's see here. Who wants to review a Star Trek comic?
I do.
You sure now? It's no
And
trouble.
it's not
We don't
just
have to.
any Star Trek comic. Slow your roll there, Buster.
It is a Star Trek comic. I can prove it.
It's not just any Star Trek. Best.
Well, it is a Star Trek comic. That much I know. So
Raquel's in love, I think.
I am. I'm totally in
Alrighty.
love.
So I tell you, we'll leave it up to the cat. First person in the chat says, "Don't do it. We won't do it." Oh,
What?
there you go. JG Kirk said, "Don't." Well, sorry.
If
kidding.
anyone in the
Just
chat
kidding,
says
JG.
don't review the comic, I am going to send you shin kicks. I'm going to put you in the agony booth, and I will definitely rover you
And play Alan Moraine on over and
on
over
your
on
forehead with the waddy sticks.
Indeed, yes. All right, everybody, time to review a Star Trek comic. And of course, here are our opening credits for our Star Trek comic review.
Don't go
Created-
anywhere.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. They're opening credits, not end credits, for our comic book review segment on CLOBBERIN Times, CLOBBY'S Clubhouse. Credits courtesy of the wonderful first officer, the amazing R.M. Briggs, Commander R.M. Briggs. Here we go.
Warp drive, Mr. Scott. Ahead warp 1, Mr. Sulu. Accelerating to warp 1, sir.
Yeah. Welcome to Clubby's Clubhouse Star Trek Comics Review, baby cakes.
That's right.
All right. This is, of course, our fourth Star Trek to review. We are reviewing Star Trek Early Years, or excuse me, Star Trek Early Voyages. Doesn't even say the, it just says Early Voyages now. From 1997. This is issue number 4. Marvel presents Paramount Comics. This is when, for those who do not know, the Star Trek comic book label began in the 1960s, started out under Gold Key. Then, of course, although there were some, they had comic strips in the UK from other, from a different source over there. Jerry Anderson, in fact, Jerry Anderson's own magazine, Joe 90. Jerry Anderson, the guy whose show we just got through reviewing, it was a magazine about a show of his that carried Star Trek comics. And then, of course, there was it went over to Marvel when the motion picture came out. It was there for a short time, although it was also in the Los Angeles Times as a comic book strip. A comic strip of the newspaper. And then, of course, DC took it up for a good long while, well over a decade. DC had the license to move not only original crew, but Star Trek The Next Generation. And then they ended up, I believe, the license for Star Trek Deep Space Nine went to a cross between Marvel and Malibu. And eventually Star Trek Voyager and the other rest of the Star Trek property went back to Marvel in a joint effort with Paramount called Paramount Comics. And you had a number, at this time, there were some pretty good series. The best one, in my opinion, of course, was Star Trek Early Voyages. And we are now on our 4th issue. And this is what's really special about this to me. I've always liked this comic, of course, was that our wonderful first officer, Commander Briggs, has not read comics before. She's we do Star Trek here. And although she's been just so wonderful and understanding and very tolerant of comics, even though it's not her bag, she's been wonderful to us about them, but she'd never read comics. And because if there's one thing that could trap her into reading a comic, it was going to be Star Trek, and it had to be a very special Star Trek. It had to be, well, Captain Pike, of course. And she has agreed to. She's been given some Star Trek comics over the past couple of years as gifts, but she informed me just a couple of weeks ago when we reviewed the first issue that she had never actually read anything and had read a comic, and this was her first comic book, number 1 of this series here.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
You never read any of your gold keys either, right? Because you've been collecting gold keys.
Yeah. So here we are at number 4, folks. And now, if you were here last week, well, this is kind of picking up for last week. Left off a little bit. So I'm going to turn, as I like to do, turn the floor over a little bit to our first officer, number 4, because this is something that I could not tell you how excited I am at her excitement over this. Number 1.
Okay. First of all, I have to say, I would never know about any of this if it weren't for Clobby. It actually almost makes me emotional how much I'm enjoying these comics. As everyone knows, The Cage is my number 1. It's my number 1 of all TOS. And I actually think that this comic book collection should be a companion to The Cage. So I think that somebody should watch The Cage and then read all of the comics in this Early Voyages and then move on to TOS. What he has done, what Clobby has done here is extraordinary. This is so much fun. It's as though you're watching The Cage, but you're getting all of the information that you were filling in with your imagination. And you get to see Christopher. I only got to go on 1 date with Christopher Pike, and now I've gone on 5 dates with Christopher Pike, and it is just marvelous. And remember that in even reading these comics, you are paying such a huge tribute to Gene Roddenberry, because this was what Star Trek was supposed to be. This was his ideal version of Star Trek. But the corporation said, It's too cerebral. It's too esoteric. Only nerdy weirdos are going to want to watch this. You have to change it. Too progressive, too nerdy. Like I said, esoteric, cerebral. So I am tickled pink. I am so delighted to have the opportunity to engage with his baby. This is his baby. This is what he wanted us to see. We would have had all of these adventures with Christopher Pike, and then we would have had all those adventures with Captain Kirk. So this is a dream fulfilled. These don't feel like comics. If you're picking them up and you're like, oh, this is just a comic, and you're a nerd and you got your nose all turned up, oh, stupid comics. No, this is not a comic. This is like watching episodes or having like a program at the ballet where you're getting all of this beautiful information about all the dancers and the choreographers and the backstory, what opera came from and things like that. I'm having the time of my life. And tonight, this episode, I was going to call it an episode, this comic was so good. I can't even talk. So I'm going to stop talking now. That is my address to my fellow nerds. Yes, Larry likes storyboards.
Yes.
Those are my comments to nerds. If you've never read comics before, you definitely need to read Early Voyages. Very intelligent, wonderful vocabulary. The diction will actually shock you. Great storytelling, and they feel like episodes. They're marvelous. Anyway, I'm going to be quiet now.
All right, so we have Star Trek Early Voyages, number 4, Captain Pike caged. But let's talk about some Chips Ahoy. Just kidding. They gotta have the ad. I love that the ads come with these comics. It's so much fun.
Can't wait for my comics to get here.
They're on the way. Space, the final frontier. Before James T. Kirk, before Jean-Luc Picard, there was Christopher Pike. These were the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, not new worms, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we have here is, for those, look, if you haven't watched The Cage a million times, or even Menagerie bits with The Cage in it a million times,
what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, you're not much of an original series fan. Admiral Teague, welcome, my friend. Good to see you.
Good evening.
So, of course, we start out in something of a flashback in a sense,
mm-hmm.
where it's the bit in The Cage where they're beaming down the second landing party to go down with the volunteers, but as Spock so brilliantly lays up the women, because
mm-hmm.
Colt and Una, I hate calling her Una, screw that show, number 1 are beamed down, and the men are not. Down, of course, into the cage with Pike and Vina. So, and this is, of course, being narrated from, did you get a chance to look at it again, Mark?
Yeah, I did look at it. Yeah, it's just a fantastic comic. Just
from the
and of course I've got to just play something here real quick. That's one of my buddies, Rob. We would go places and something crazy would happen. He'd yell, "The women!" like a, and no, like unless you were Trekkie, he wouldn't know. So I had to clip that for tonight when I saw that was actually in the comic. Nice. What's great is, as Raquel was saying, this has got a lot of the Cage in it, word for word in many cases, but it expands on it. It gives you background. You really learn a lot about Yeoman Colt, which is really well done.
Is really, yes. Hey, Dave C. I don't know if you popped in earlier or what, but Oliver Belamonte, hello there, my friend. So this story starts out. This is not necessarily a complete redo of the Cage. It is just it's that story from the personal perspective of Yeoman Colt, the lovely lady from, of course, The Cage, and whom I always liked a lot. Man, that was a cute girl. Well, I'm sorry, I forget the actress's name off the top of my head, though. I'm sure somebody will know it here.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she'd volunteered for a mission to go rescue the captain from the planet Talos 4. And then there was the women. And then, of course, As soon as they show up, well, again, this is all from the episode. For the most part, they do a great job of going word for word, but there's some times where they didn't
Laurel
get the
Goodwin, boss.
the dial. What?
Laurel Goodwin.
Goodwin. Okay, good. Love her. Anyway, nor iron bars a cage. And so this episode basically deals with, look at this art, man. It's amazing. By the way, story, Dan Abnett and Ian Eddington, which is the same team that's been on the first 4 issues. Writers, they're the writers. Patrick Zurcher and as penciler, and Greg Adams as inker, same as the first 3 issues. Marie, I can't, man, it's so small. Marie Javins, colorist. Janice Chang, letterer. Bobby Chase, editor. Bob Harris, editor-in-chief. On him. But I'm a big stickler about comic book credits, like I am anything else. It's a long story, but anyway.
I think it's good. And welcome, Oliver Belamonte. Good evening, sweetheart.
Hey, Oliver. So I love the way Zurcher laid this thing out. Of course, he's been doing a terrific job on all the issues. But that is a beautiful layout of the cage in the episode. You can tell that he has a real affinity for the show. Everything
the glass effect there too is amazing.
Yeah, this is brilliant work by an underrated penciler, and he's still around today. You actually see him. I follow his Twitter, so he posts stuff about comics art all the time.
You know this guy?
Not personally, but I've followed him for years.
You need to send me this guy's Twitter.
Okay,
I have
Patrick
to go over
Zurcher.
there and just tell him that I think he's the greatest thing since sliced
Okay,
bread.
I will. He's it seems like a nice enough guy. He posts about comic art a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this is again, he's an excellent cartoonist. He's an excellent layout artist. I love. Look, a great storyteller. This guy obviously went to the Kubert School. It's a beautiful layout page here. Splash page. And the scans, sometimes these scans are done from trades. They did a trade of this, but they didn't use that. They used the regular staple back floppy comics, which is fine. It's just sometimes the dialogue's a little small, but you have to just, pretty soon you'll have the original, so you won't care. Number one. So anyway, all of this is from the episode, and this remembering from the episode. And if any of you have any commentary about that.
I don't know what else to say other than the fact that I wish I would have had this all along.
Beautiful work.
Ever since I first watched The Cage when it first became available here in Canada to me, technically available in 1988, but not fully available until I believe 1989. I just love the way that it's explaining the stuff that happened off camera, and it's the stuff that you assumed, and it's incredible to watch it like this. It's almost like reverse engineering the storytelling process, because you feel like this is the story, like this is some pages out of the story and it was turned into a teleplay. Do you know what I'm saying here? Because this is like it makes the story so full. And you don't need it when you're watching The Cage, but it sure is nice to have. Like it's the art is beautiful. What everyone's saying to one another, the way everyone's behaving, it is the ultimate in fidelity. This is, if you're looking for fidelity to Gene Roddenberry here, doesn't get any better than this. It absolutely integrates with The Cage perfectly, and it's everything you want and more. To know more about The Cage, right? To push the walls back and make it even bigger than it is.
Yes, and they like you say, they have a little bit of things out there that are just, if someone who's watched the episode a million times, it's still kind of cute to see. Like, good God, he did some nice job on Susan Oliver right there, beautiful.
Yeah, she looks beautiful.
And number one, they're gorgeous. When basically number one says, "Captain, just stop it, Captain! You couldn't have foreseen this. You were acting, with the best of motives when you diverted to answer the distress call." And even Venus says, "She's right. You never had a chance. The Telosians' influence since well beyond their world, and that's why you must give up thoughts of escape. There's no way out. You're still thinking like humans, but that's just a delusion. You have no more free will than animals in a cage." Mm-hmm. And then Sonic says, "We're animals and we're happy." But anyway, sorry.
Club.
So
I loved this. I loved the
is beautiful right here.
Balboa. I loved the USS Savannah. I loved seeing the Cage universe expanding. It was super cool.
How you like the ship she served on, the Hawking?
I at first I thought, oh, is that anachronism? And because like Hawking wasn't really like known until like 1968 with his first published essay, but then he got his first very prestigious award in 1969. And of course, The Cage was written in 1964, or possibly 1963. So you think to yourself, Hawking, would that be anachronism? And then you sort of run it through your head, and you're like, no. Remember, Star Trek is a possible world, and sort of course, Hawking would be forward, right? So you can think of Stephen Hawking and you're okay with it. But it does make you pause. You're like, oh, we put Stephen Hawking in here. That's so cool. And then you figure out it's not really anachronism.
Wasn't he pretty famous by 1997?
Yes, by 1997. But if you're so you have to think of it like I'm thinking about it like an author. I'm thinking about it like, okay, Cage is written in like, let's say 63, 64. So you kind of want it to be written like as though somebody wrote it in 1963, 1964. Oh. But then you say to yourself, don't call this anachronism, because it's not. Remember, Star Trek happens in the future, and this is a great homage to a man who you really love. Beautiful. So it's at first you think it's anachronism, but it's not. So then you're like, what a cool way of putting Stephen Hawking in the episode.
If you were writing a Star Trek story right now and you wanted to throw some kind of reference like that in there, you wouldn't think, well, that guy wasn't popular in 1977 and the show wasn't written until you wouldn't. Yeah. I don't think anybody would.
And he's on TNG too, right? So although this is
true
in the past, but
remember,
actually have him on TNG. Yep.
The Cage happens in the future, but you're still like, that's how much I love. That's how much I love these comics. Like, I'm actually starting to think like I'm almost judging them the same way I would a book. So
what you said would never occurred to me.
Just wait till you see the other Star Trek comics that are really great too. I mean,
anyway.
The Trial of James T. Kirk and some of the Peter David stuff, and it's just so phenomenal. I mean, it's like you're watching an episode and you forget that you're reading it just becomes a movie too. So
this is exactly what I'm talking about. So you're sitting there like you're thinking, okay, like let's dial it back to 1964. And so you're totally immersed, and these comics have like pristine fidelity. The fidelity is just, it's so wonderful. And then you see Stephen Hawking, and then you realize, oh my gosh, this comic was written in the 1990s. And then you say to yourself, this isn't anachronism, because it would be the possible world of the future. And then it's just such a head trip, because these comics are so well done. You want them to have happened in 1964.
Sean Carter.
It's amazing. Sean Carter from Mars.
Yes, indeediousness. So anyway, we have Yeoman Colt or whatever.
Yeah, Yeoman Colt.
Transferred to the Enterprise because of the loss, of course, of the Yeoman Colt. I mean, the Yeoman from the Cusack from the previous issue.
Yeah.
On Rigel 7, and there's some of the dead being brought in now, and unfortunately, it's a somber moment. Yeoman Mia Colt reporting permission to come aboard, sir. Granted, and so it's kind of a cold reception. She's not really feeling it. Nobody, obviously because of what's been going on. But she has.
But everyone's in mourning, right?
Sure.
But it's not very professional. Number one, some of the people, number one was kind of nasty to her here in this.
No, she wasn't.
I thought she was, yeah.
No, she wanted to let her know, like, look, number one, and don't call her Una, because she's not Irish and she's not the queen of the fairies. So her name isn't Una.
I know, it's an accident.
Number one is so cerebral. The Telosians likened her to having a brain more like a computer. Okay, so this is somebody who, first of all, has to follow the chain of command and make sure that this girl doesn't get above her raising, because there is a miscommunication here as to how she got this position after Cusack. and she needs to realize that there is an open wound here. It isn't that Pike wants to get into her pants. It isn't that she's like some sort of superstar and that's why April sent her. No one knows anything. They have to communicate this to one another, but they don't have an opportunity yet. So number one has to just say like, look, everyone here is in mourning. Take a step back, get your bearing. Don't make assumptions here. There's a lot going on. Cusack was far more important than just the simple yeoman. He was also the captain's best friend, and he died in a way that is something that the captain regrets. So I don't think she's ignorant. I just think that there are a lot of balls in play, and everybody needs to figure out who sent whom, when, and why. And so I think that number one does that quite beautifully, because in the end, she's quite chummy with her once Colt shows that she is one of the crew by saying, no, I would 100% sacrifice my life.
Yeah,
that's all number one wanted. And if you call her Una, I'll kick you like really hard.
You're right. I think Una was okay in what she said there.
Well, that was DC.
Don't call her Una.
What was I read
Fontana's
Vulcan's Glory, but I think I don't know what the name was in Vulcan's Glory, which is a phenomenal book, which everyone should read.
The DC
which
Fontana
tells about
Vulcan's book?
Glory.
Yeah.
Vulcan's Glory
Glory,
is the name of the book. Yeah, unbelievably amazing book. I should have done a review of it on my channel, but that's another story. But
we should all read it.
I think she called her. I'm trying to remember if she gave her the name Una, but she's the one that gave all the backstory to number one, and of course, Strange Nude Worms copied it while giving her any credit. At least give her a writer's credit,
right?
Give some mention, in the thing, as created by DC Fontana and Vulcan's Glory. So I don't know. I just thought number one was, I guess it's fitting with her character, but I thought she was a little bit dour on Colt there. Maybe I like
yeah,
Colt.
well, she was brisk with her, but Colt did seem like she was a bit chipper, calling it she called it a dream assignment, and then that rubbed number one the wrong way.
Yeah,
kind of put her in her place a little bit. It's fine. So, but I hear you. I understand.
And also, there's a great deal of unpacking to happen.
But
right?
see, that's why the writing is so good. Because
at this point, nobody knows that April sent her, and nobody knows that April handpicked her because April wanted somebody who was going to be capable after Cusack, right? And she's thinking it's because she's some hotshot with wicked grades from Starfleet Academy, and that she's going to rise in the ranks and use this, ship of the line to get herself there. And number one's like, listen, hey, little lady, you're a Colt. Figuratively, literally, well, not literally, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Just slow your roll. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway.
But I think that's why this comic is so well written and so good, because this fits the characters perfectly, right? Like you can imagine number one doing this. You can imagine Colt acting like this. It's not out of character when you see some of the
perfectly. You're
stuff.
Right.
When you see some of the stuff today, you're like, oh, this no way is this character gonna do this, or how could this character say this? So I mean,
These
I might
personally,
I might not like how number one is acting here. Me personally, as a person, that's not my person. I would act, but that's not out of character for her, though.
No, it's not.
Kirk's. How many times have we seen Kirk bite somebody's head off, and you're like, Jesus, dude, but he's Kirk. So
well, I would if they're if they're loading dead bodies, cadavers in a pod, and and like number one likens it, or is it Dr. Boyce? I forget. But somebody says, this is like a small town. Not only are we family, but we know everybody's business. And so this is like, cutting a limb off, having these folks die. And so it's just like Clobby said, she comes onto the ship all chipper, thinking about her career and how awesome sauce she is. And meanwhile, it's like they just buried 4 family members. And of course, the captain was Cusack, like it's his best friend. So it's a messed up situation. So she needed a bit of a stop that.
So next scene we got Pike in sick bay with Dr. Beefy Boyce.
Why is he so beefy? I want Dr. Boyce back.
I need to ask Searcher what happened with that, because there's something interesting at the end of this issue that really kind of, it's weird. Anyway, so basically they're just doing the usual doctor, Doctor Captain banter, which is interesting. Right after, still not too long after the events, and then
Check out that
comes
I have some
six-pack.
laundry to do. Do you
Colt.
think maybe I could use that washboard for my laundry?
yes.
I want to get my whites whiter than white.
There you
God,
go.
I love Christopher Pike. Jeffrey Hunter was so hot.
I like the fact that he doesn't have ridiculous, annoying hair that makes him look like a twerp, like somebody else would have.
I used to think that he wasn't hot. Like, I tried not to think about it, but the older I get, the hotter Jeffrey Hunter gets.
Well,
The female
hose down.
gaze segment
Hose-
of the Clubhouse
The
tonight.
female
brought to you by
gaze.
washboards, by the old-fashioned washboards. Yep.
So, here in comes Colt, and she's thinking
she's
the same thing.
flustered.
Same thing that Raquel is. Of course.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
She's thinking, oh, look at that
a
man.
minute.
He needs a
This-
tongue bath.
Wait a minute. This isn't Pike.
Tongue bath.
Wait a minute. This is not Pike. Okay, guys, what is it? His hair's not spiky poofy. He's not wearing a bib behind the kitchen table, cutting up vegetables and shit. How can it be Pike? Sorry. Strangles and Worms has ruined me. I admit it.
I hate the
So,
film.
the
Anyway.
filth is filth. So there we go. He meets I like, again, this is what Pike should be. He meets a hot young chick. He's like, yeah, I don't care. He's just so professional. He's been doing this for a long time. He doesn't talk like a child, like on some other, sorry. These are somber moments aboard the Enterprise. And this is when basically Boyce does tell her about what it's like to be on the Enterprise, talks about how it's a small ship. And then something weird happens.
Mm-hmm.
Something's wrong with the doctor.
Yep.
Doctor, not again. Leave me be. Help us. You must help us. So, in other words, something's going on with Dr. Boyce, but we don't know, and we're not going to know in this issue.
Who's he talking to? That's weird.
This
don't know.
happened last issue.
To be continued.
It's to be continued.
Yeah, they'll deal with it.
Yeah, Larry.
M&Ms.
Jeffrey Hunter died. And that's a pretty complicated story. It's one that I don't like to discuss because it's kind of disrespectful to the dead. But the woman who he was with at the time didn't want him doing science fiction. And so he started doing these action and cowboy movies. She thought that, sort of science fiction was beneath him.
And he played Jesus.
Yeah. And because of that, he had sustained several head injuries. And eventually he died from one. So, I don't like talking about it on air because it's like, if Jeffrey Hunter would have stayed with Star Trek, you could speculate that he possibly would have lived instead of, having head trauma that took his life. But I don't like talking like that because I think it's extremely disrespectful to speak like that about what could have been in somebody else's life. And Jeffrey Hunter loved who he loved. And that woman thought that science fiction was beneath him and he made his choice. I think it's incredibly sad because he was a very handsome, talented person. And it's one of the saddest stories from Star Trek. And
very young,
bad.
yeah. Age 42 in 1969.
Yeah, really sad. Anyway.
I'd rather cheer him. Now that you bummed me out, I got to look at some M&Ms for a minute.
Sorry.
Cheer me up.
I don't want to bum you out.
Nah, I'm teasing. Man's been gone a long time. We love his work. Love what he did. We miss him. But, look, I'm glad we got Kirk. I'm sorry. I love Pike, but I'm a Kirk guy. I'm sorry to be that way.
Yeah.
I love Pike. And if
I love them both.
I probably still love the show with Pike. Don't get me wrong, but I'm so glad we got Kirk.
No,
wish we could have both.
Yeah, it
So
would have been
anyway.
a different Star Trek because he's a completely different
Right.
captain. But the way that I see it in my mind, especially as I get older, is that these were just two stories
Right.
that Gene Roddenberry wrote,
Understood.
and I would have liked to have explored both.
Well, we're nice. We're nice what we ended up, unfortunately. And I still want some M&Ms. But so back in the cage.
Boss man,
Yes.
Chris Persia is leaving the chat. He's not
Hi,
leaving the
Chris.
show. He's,
Okay.
He's gonna turn us on, but he's gonna go hop into bed. Good night, sweetheart.
Good night, Chris.
All our love.
Buddy. Later, bud. So back to the cage. To still remembering some of her incidences in the cage, and he's from a perspective, most of this off camera or stuff that wasn't
Mhm.
what was not filmed, and which was interesting.
Mhm.
And then, well, they did one thing that aggravated me here.
What?
Well, first of
I'd
all,
like to know if it's. Go
this
ahead.
one makes mistake in dialogue. You know me about that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But still, this is all really nice work. Then we, of course, go back to the big shot of the funeral,
Yep.
which is fascinating and very sad.
I love the way the perspective of that panel.
By the way, did you have anything to say about any of this?
No, I just like that it picked up on some of those scenes and gave us enough from the cage, and then picked up on and accentuated and highlighted and unpacked some possibilities that weren't included in the episode, and it goes off in a nice direction.
Cool. Mark, no?
No, just continuing how top notch. There's nothing bad about this comic. There's no lulls in it, or all this art. It's just, and it puts you into the cage, right? And you get even more background information on the cage, which I love here.
Mm-hmm.
They did show right here where he's interesting, not chronicled from the episode, where he's figuring out their Achilles heel where they fed him before, which later in the episode it shows why Pike is pretending to sleep, but watching that little hole right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's something that kind of, very clever.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So here we have the funeral, and all in their Starfleet dress uniforms.
Yeah, they look beautiful.
Yeah. And she's an outsider, of course, but she gets. I'm really starting to like Nano.
And Nano, thing is that I like the fact that she sort of says, "Well, you're an outsider too," and I think that it's kind of nice because no one is an outsider. It's about earning each other's trust and building relationships, and that is said later on. So it's really nice.
The engines will sing tribute to the fallen captain. The ship mourns their loss. Says the what's his I forget the guy's name. The Indian chief engineer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget his name. And we'll get to know him, but he's only been mentioned once before, right? And that was when we got the personnel briefing. Probably should have written his name down with all the new people.
Right.
You gotta write down the new people.
It's down here. We'll find it's in this comic later. But anyway, so basically, I don't know. Colt is just trying to fit in, trying to, she's very. I guess maybe she's a bit gregarious. She's talking about how what's the latest news going on with Rigel, and says Rigel 7 may yet become a valued member of the Federation because they're all, And Pike was just, I'm sure that'll be a great comfort to the families of the dead. Return to your stations. Yeah. I love Pike. He's like, you know what?
He's also showing how she's sort of being insensitive. When you come into a situation like that, it's important to maintain a somber gait, a somber way of dealing with everyone. Especially Pike with as far as Cusack goes, right? So, and just talking about the Kalar, it's terrible for Pike because that's of course how Cusack was killed. So, and if you're unfamiliar with the Kalar, folks, it's not Kalar. There is significant recycling in Star Trek with some of the later writers. So we don't mean Kalar like as in Worf's baby mama. We're talking about Kalar the race. Here, I think it's really nice because he's trying to show her that these tough, amazing, cool people are sensitive and that they really care about each other. And I think she sort of acts insensitive. And I think that she's starting to learn the tone of the ship. And I think that's good.
JT, I think that's a little bit far, dude. I wouldn't condemn her that much. Thanks. She reminds you of Tilly. There's no way. No. I can't think of any way she reminds me of Tilly. First of all, she's smart, good looking.
Who's Tilly?
Tough. You don't want to know.
You
STD.
don't want to know.
Tilly
Miss
isn't in
Macaroni and
Star Trek?
Cheese.
The macaroni and cheese girl.
Yeah. You know,
Oh, the sick, the baby poo, the dirty diapers.
But,
Why are
yeah.
you smearing dirty diapers on this
Filth.
glorious
Because
comic?
JT mentioned it. That's why. JT. All right. So anyway, let's move on to watch some ads, and then
Goosebumps.
Tilly?
Yeah.
Talking about that chick that gambles.
I love it, Yeoman Colt. If I spoke out of turn, sir, I don't need a yeoman right now, Colt. The run to Vega is routine. When I do require a yeoman, I'll assign someone on board who knows the ship. You may have landed this job through your academy scores, but I value working familiarity over grades. Have number one detail you with alternative duties. We'll arrange your transporter or transfer to another vessel when we reach Vega. Do you have a problem, Colt? Yes, sir. But she goes after him.
Yep, she does.
Flights back. Tilly couldn't do this without her macaroni and cheese. With all due respect, sir, it's you. I was quite happy serving on the Hawking. I was selected to be a replacement yeoman by Commodore April at Starfleet Command. I did not request this assignment. I'd be proud to serve here on the Enterprise, and I'd serve well given the chance. If you don't want me on board, fine, but don't blame me for being here. Finished? This is a difficult assignment, Colt. It would be made more difficult. It would be made more difficult by a reprimand for insubordination. Dismissed.
She deserved that.
Wants off crying. Yep. And he says blast instead of F. But yeah.
Well, because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings, but she's a crybaby.
Yep. See, he does not like slamming anybody. He hurt her feelings, but he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
Said, hey, look, go cry somewhere else.
Yeah. We're not in a mood to throw a party to welcome you aboard like you're the star pupil and you're just the greatest. Stop it.
JT crying. See, just like the
Listen, I don't know. Jennifer Tilly was never on Star Trek.
No. Ensign Tilly.
Ensign Tilly.
No, there's no such thing. Stop saying that on this show.
Star Trek.
You're getting poo on my comic. Don't put poo on my comic, Mark.
I'm gonna play that clip for you.
Don't put poop on my comic.
Interesting scene here where she is, of course, on Talos 4 and has a scene similar to the way Pike did earlier on when he was out riding horses out, with Tango and Fina, which I thought this was interesting, right? Pulling something out of her mind, giving her, putting her back at Starfleet Command.
Yep.
Very nice. I thought very nicely done again.
Yeah, I love it.
He's really good at detail and composition.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's great. I love this. I love the opportunity to be able to see how they were messing with Colt at the same time as Pike was off with Tango.
Yeah. Who knows what they did to number one?
Yeah, right. And wouldn't have that would have been great if they would have
probably didn't want to mess with her.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that, Mark? Good art.
Oh, it's just amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's a little jarring. You're like, oh, what's happening here? But you can imagine that's what happens to Colt and all the other people on the crew as the Telosians mess with your mind. So just really well done. And I guess this must be a 2-page spread, I'm guessing, across the middle here. So great layout, like you said. And they're tempting her, right? They're tempting Yeoman Colt and, to stay with, they want someone to stay with Pike, right? They want to, they need slaves, right? Yeah, they need an Adam and Eve. So they're trying as hard as they can. And they say, nope, it didn't work. Yep. Don't worry. Didn't work. Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about this is that it accentuates this idea that the Telosians were going to make the humans slaves.
Well, that's what they said.
Well, kind of, but then they sort of correct themselves after. Do you know what I mean? Like when they realize.
That's the way number one interpreted it when she said it's wrong to create a whole race of humans as slaves. So.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's true. But at the same time, after when they back away and they're like, oh, we didn't realize that what we would do would be so harmful to you that you would become so violent.
It was a mutual, they were giving them something they wanted. They didn't realize that humans would rather have reality, no matter how crappy it is, than a fantasy. Yeah. But that's fair enough.
Because the keeper does, I know number one says that, but the keeper also says that they're basically looking for their replacements. And so
Yeah, that's fair. It was a misunderstanding of sorts.
it was a misunderstanding, and I think new fans should have that pointed out to them as much as possible, and that is that those Telosians felt that human beings were just as alien to them as the Telosians were to the human beings, because they, the keeper does say we are looking to replace. We messed up. We've put ourselves into a position where we can't procreate. We can't do anything physical with our bodies, making them, basically the first non-binary characters, which would make the original pilot the first incident of non-binary characters, not the modern day like the new fans believe, and so they needed that Adam and Eve, and they wanted to train them in the ways of being Telosian, and that's something that the new fans should realize too. So you can't just go by what new fans go by, just what number one says there, but it's important to look at the whole story as you watch the entire Cage and realize what was happening between the Telosians and the humans in that pilot. Far more complicated than the filth people think it is. Imagine you get yourself to a point where there is no male, there is no female, and there's no procreation. You can't do anything, but you have all this power in your mind. And of course, number one is horrified by this entire scenario. It's alien to her. She thinks it's sick in the head. It's quite weird. And these people are torturing people and also collecting specimens to try and find the ultimate creatures to replace them on the surface of the earth. So on their planet. So of course she's going to be horrified. But we get more of truly what's happening when the keeper realizes that the Telosians will not be able to use the human beings, when the keeper opens up and says, no, we really need to pass on a legacy. We really want to train people in these mind techniques, but we aren't going to go so far next time. We need an Adam and Eve. We need children. And so filth people need to realize there's a lot more going on in the Cage than just the stuff that they accentuate. I guess that's all I'm trying to say.
I'll just say this to you: the filth people aren't watching the Cage, so.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah.
But I'm being flip, but I'm flippant, but actually probably they probably don't,
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't trying to be glib on, but I'm just saying if they do watch it, they watched it one time and said, whatever.
Yeah.
Better,
It's so true. It's so true.
Oh, they probably will screw with it next on what show. So
I hope not.
They've already screwed with Rival Schedule 7, so let's hope they make a musical out of the Cage. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, she tells he says, did they, because Pike knows, kind of suspects what they did to her.
Mm-hmm.
They did just like they did with you. They replayed a crucial moment of my life to entice me to stay here with you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, it didn't work.
Yeah.
A crucial point with that character. Mark, anything or?
Oh, well, you see your super chat on the screen?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the comic. I apologize.
Oh, that's why I put the super.
Always tell me if we're doing a comic, because I'm always over there looking at the comic. Sorry. Scott Knudsen, thank you so much. Appreciate that. You were too kind. Oh, I took it off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, put it back.
He says, thank you. He says, true story. I joined the Navy at 18 after growing up on Star Trek. I get to my boat. They tell me to report to the duty yeoman. I go and I'm shocked it's a guy. That's how I learned. So I learned yeoman.
Where's yeoman cult?
Admin, not woman. Yeah. I got to admit, and I know nothing about that sort of thing, Scott. I always assumed the yeoman is Yeoman Rand.
Yeah, right. It's a woman. Yeah.
Scott, most people don't realize the position of the yeoman. When Clobby and I covered TOS, I explained it to people, and I think they were shocked and horrified by what I told them. But they had no idea that a yeoman is like the right hand of the captain. That it is typically fulfilled by a man, not a woman. And I think the thing that shocked them the most, Scott, was when I told them that the yeoman was could typically be considered the bookkeeper of the whole ship. So, The
Wasn't it?
person who says how the monies or the resources are spent on the ship and holds everyone to account for it, including the captain. I remember when we talked about that on TOS, the people in the chat were so shocked. Anyway, I love
Well,
your
wasn't it?
comment. Thank you for that. And that's an incredibly generous gift to the boss. Thanks,
Thank you
Scott.
so much, buddy. Wasn't it Corbett Maneuver? He says, when I get my hands on the headquarters genius to assign me a female yeoman, what's the matter, Jim?
Yeah.
Don't you trust yourself?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he doesn't want a female yeoman. He's got enough to worry about.
Yeah.
He says, I got enough. He said, I already have a woman to worry about. She's called the Enterprise.
hmm
Remember that discussion? I believe it was. So, yeah, but so he didn't like, I mean, he loved, obviously, like Yeoman Rand, but he didn't really think he should have a female. It's interesting, though, after that point, they didn't have a recurring character. I mean, obviously, we know we just never saw the yeoman, okay? Modern day, they would have to make a yeoman. I'm surprised they haven't done it on you know what. But
Oh,
they
don't
don't
tell
even think
them.
about it. But who cares? They don't care anyway. Like they
They're
listen to me.
idiots.
Like they would listen to any of us. But my point is, though, so all that time, Kirk had a yeoman. I guess Picard had a yeoman. I guess they all had a yeoman, and you just never really. They didn't
Okay, I have
write
to
them.
jump in here for very quickly, even though it's super rude. I'm so sorry, boss. Dadman and the Dadman clan.
My dad, man.
They're calling it a night, so I just want to send love to their marvelous family. Make sure that
Good night,
you follow
everybody.
Dadman Walking 55
Goodbye,
and
Dad, man.
his whole marvelous family. Good night, my friend.
Right, Dad,
Good night.
man. Be good.
All right, Dad, man, and the Dad, man.
Dream of unicorn ice cream. Or,
There you go.
sleep.
Anyway, boss, you were saying.
No, I'm just saying. All that time, they never thought it was necessary to write a yeoman character other than
Yeah.
Yeoman Rand. Yeoman Rand is the only real yeoman character we get. I mean, although
Mhm.
Roddenberry thought it was important to have one on the cage, and then
Yeah.
when he gets, obviously we know what happened. We're not gonna go into what happened with Grace Lee Whitney, but it was at least pertinent at that point to have a yeoman. Then
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
they just decided they didn't really need to have one, or at least that we know of. So
Yeah.
here we go. Now we're still on Talos 4, and there he's trying to be nice. There must be one heck of a first day on the job, you could say. You volunteered for the rescue mission, didn't you? Did you think you had something to prove to me? With respect, Captain, I quit trying. I quit trying. I volunteered to prove to myself I've been right to choose the Starfleet as a career. I've made. But anyway, he's telling her this is a lot of stuff about, because this episode or this issue is a lot about crewman cult, by the way, introducing us to her.
Yeah.
So it's basically talking about her life, and it's pretty. Like I said, I really like the character. I think she's really. You don't see much of her in the cage, obviously, because they changed the show. So these writers, Ian Eddington and Dan Abnett, do a nice job of here by issue 4, giving her some character points so they could build her up a little bit.
Well, so we
And,
like her, right?
Yes, we like her. I
Because
like
we
her.
love Cusack and
Yeah.
we're looking forward to having an Irish wake for Cusack and everyone's upset that Cusack is gone. So if you want to hold your reader in, you have to show that the characters have value. And so I think they've done a perfect job here in showing that they value the characters, so we'll value the characters. And it's nice that she comes in and she's a little too enthusiastic and she's got to tone it down 79 notches. And then all of a sudden everyone starts to consider her emotions a little bit more because she dials them back enough so that they're reachable from their spot, which is in being in a spot of mourning, right? The whole crew. So the people who wrote this, they're good writers. These are very good writers. These are talented writers. They know that in order for us to care about the character, they have to care about the character.
And they did a nice job with it. She, Pike apologizes to her. She said it's okay, captain's prerogative. And she was very understanding. She didn't whine like a bitch about it after that. She was just
Holy
really
crap!
Gotta
Larry,
interrupt.
$50.
Larry's gone nuts right now.
Larry, damn it, sorry. Larry, thank you, man. You're too kind, buddy.
Sweetheart.
All of you are great people. Clubby, Raquel, Mark, best wishes always. Well, Larry, man, thank you so much. I don't know what to say, buddy.
He's so
I'm
kind.
honored.
You're so kind and thoughtful and loyal, and you are helping so many indie people. You are such a magnificent person. Thank you, Larry. Mwah.
Larry, again,
Thank you so
I'm
much. Yep.
speechless. I'm definitely not worthy. It's
Well, you're right on one of those three, right? Raquel's a great person. I don't know about me and Clobby, but no.
Yeah, we're not.
You guys.
Raquel's great enough for all of us, though. Larry's
No,
a
I'm
great
not. Larry, I love you, honey. Thank you, hon.
and he still has the
Very
coolest
nice, very
avatar
nice.
of anybody because
He does.
He's got Bullwinkle and Rocky.
Yes.
Well, pull a rabbit out of my head. Thank you, buddy. You were too kind.
Too nice.
Incredibly generous.
I just don't know what to say, man.
What a
Thank you so
man.
much. Appreciate you.
Don't spend it all on action figures.
No,
He
just,
won't.
I don't get action figures anymore. Well,
No, he doesn't have the room.
Action
That's a
figure
lie.
moratorium.
yeah, I wish I could obey it. So, yeah, ads.
Look at
And now
those
we're back-
chesticles. That was
That
more
was a
than
good
an
ad,
ad.
though.
Look
yeah.
at those chesticles.
Wow,
Like
that's
that's
great.
some
That's a
chesticles.
wonderful idea.
So
She's a cop.
here's my one nitpick. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
this is the bit where no, so I'll break your neck.
Yeah.
Don't hurt them. They don't mean to be evil. He says, what? And it's just a natural flair. No, you're supposed to say, I've had some samples of how good they are.
Yeah.
I don't know why you changed the dialogue right there, but that's very untrek of you to do that. But I love you anyway. I'm just saying. I
No,
love to
it's
see what
true.
I've had some samples of how good they are.
Mm-hmm.
And now, then they also kind of glossed over. You stop this illusion, or I'll twist your head off. I love the snarl and the anger of the great acting of Jeffrey Hunter in that scene.
Yeah, because he says it in
He
a
does
way
have it
in
right
which
here.
you instantly connect with the fact that he is trying to assert his own psychology. Like the way that he says it, you stop this illusion right now or I'll twist your head off.
Stop this illusion or I'll twist your head off. There it is right there.
Yeah, and it's because he doesn't want the Telosian. It's almost like he's reaffirming himself. You know what I mean? Because it's so hard to control your thoughts with the Telosians. Anyway, I love it.
Well, then there's also, he also left out the line, sorry, you try anything at all, Telosian, and I'll break your neck.
Yeah.
To cut that out. Okay, that's all right, but still, that's much better. And he goes, I'm going to gamble you're too intelligent to kill for no reason at all. On the other hand, I've got a reason. I'm willing to bet you've created an illusion this laser is empty. I think I just blasted a hole in that wall and you're keeping me from seeing it.
Yeah.
You want me to catch? You want I should test that theory out on your head? I love it. That's one of the great
That's
scenes.
brilliant. Just one of the
Good.
best dialogue ever in Star Trek, right? And it comes in the first episode, just so
incredible.
cerebral, but also so cool too, where you
Yeah.
all of a sudden then the hole in the wall appears.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's just
Yes, he was
something
a captain.
so unexpected.
Yep.
Yep. So they go back up to the service. Very nicely done, Patrick Zercher. Communications still robust. And then this where it all comes to the end a little bit. I can just chronicling stuff that happens in the episode. My threat stands. That is your choice. They changed dialogue up in there, but I'm going to live with it. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's coming from her perspective. it's fine.
Yeah. Well, that's a very
some of
nice
the-
way of putting it, boss.
Some of the other comics by that line that were going on at this time, there was a Deep Space Nine title. There was a
Mhm.
Starfleet Academy title, which was pretty interesting, and a
Mhm.
Voyager book. There was one I really liked called Star Trek Untold Tales. That started from like after the motion picture. There was some. They were really pretty good.
Mm.
Some really good ones. With the female of your choice, you will begin carefully guided lives to help reclaim the service of our zoological guard. Blah 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 whatever. And
Yeah.
So she
This
said,
is what I mean. Like, yeah. Anyway.
No, go ahead. Good.
No, it's just I'm just going to be repeating myself. So don't allow me to repeat myself. I need some shin kicks. Keep going, boss.
No.
You're
You're
all
both
good.
here to review. So any words you got, either one of you. Donnie, Zamir was the cage pacer, an inspiration for the Mega Blaster and Power Ranger. You know what? I do not know. I can't answer that, but I just say Don Power Ranger. I wouldn't be surprised.
Don Power Ranger.
Yes, I would not be surprised if that's the case, because it is a very cool design. And so anyway,
Well, I was just gonna say that panel, previous panel, is just amazing. That if you go
Which
up one page or keep going, I guess when they come out of the, I'm watching the TV show now. When they come up,
Right
if
there?
you can't blow it up, but yeah. But when you blow that up and you read it, just that evokes you're in the episode right there again.
Yeah,
right?
you are.
I mean,
Yes,
it's
he did a
just-
great job on it.
And
'Cause
Matthew
you-
Pounder, I totally agree with you. And I know you're being facetious. You're probably being extremely sarcastic by saying it seems like a good deal kidding. But I think that's exactly what that's what I've always considered since the first time I watched The Cage. I really did see it as an Eden, that they did think they were going to encounter a species that was going to see this opportunity to build their minds and to become as powerful mentally as the Telosians, and also have this Eden, this paradise to live in. Just human beings were not the right choice for that, because we would consider it a prison. But they didn't see it that way, and that's always been something that stood out to me, is just how profoundly different the Telosians were from human beings, and how they so colossally misunderstood one another. But the Telosians didn't seem entirely evil to me, and I think Gene did it like that on purpose, because he's a genius. Anyway.
The Cage phaser, I think, was inspired by other sci-fi movies or TV, says Larry. Larry, could be, yeah. I mean, you never know. They were very cool weapons, though.
Gene just didn't want them called lasers.
Lasers, but
Yep.
they did anyway.
Phasers.
Yeah.
So anyway, so here we go. I didn't need to ask if I would stand at his side as a Starfleet officer and accept his fate. And his look told me that he was glad to make that assumption. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway.
Now watch how number one changes her behavior.
Yes.
Toward her.
Of course, for me to be recording this log, we did not perish. The Telosians realized they had significantly underestimated human abhorrence for captivity. That factor alone made us too violent for the Telosian needs, and we were released. I'm watching Telos 4 now as it drops away behind us. Starfleet will have to be alerted to this remote, dangerous world. Vina remained behind there. Captain Pike wouldn't say why. Now I'm back on the ship. I feel different. No one said anything. Nothing has actually changed. But I feel somehow like I'm beginning to belong. Yeoman?
Yeah.
So anyway, they have a conversation right there. And anyone who has any closing remarks about the rest of this, please.
Well, first, I have to interject very quickly to say goodnight to Kirok. I am Kirok.
Kirok.
GT Kirk. You're very naughty this evening. I still love you. Have a great night.
Night, buddy.
LLAP.
Good night.
All right, JT, be good, brother. See you Saturday, I hope.
Okay, so I want to say that I liked the fact that we learn that both Colt and number one want to be with Pike, and they want to be with him for entirely different reasons. And I love the way that Colt is way too perky on when she should behave in a somber way. And I like the fact that once they figure out the very center of her, what her core ethics are, and how loyal she is in these desperate situations, that number one starts being nice to her. Because I strongly dislike people who watch so much television and films that they think they know how they'll behave in a situation like this, and it's complete and utter horseshit. You don't know how you're going to react in a situation like that until it happens to you. Because if you have a chance to either live or die, you may not choose that. And so once again, I have to say, I have to doff my cap to the folks who wrote this comic, because once again, they're showing that the stakes matter to them, and that's okay, because the stakes matter to them. They know the stakes will matter to us. And they take this into consideration, how much risk is here. If you take that risk for granted and you don't give it its due, you wind up coming off phony. And this is why the filth fails. And so the writers are really great here. Now we know this episode proves that both women want to be with Pike for completely different reasons. We know that Colt starts off a little bit perky. She hasn't earned her way, but she's smart. She did really well academically, and she also has some very powerful people because April is a Commodore here. And now we find out that she's also willing to give her life for the people who she works with, even though she's young. And she could have said, "Oh, you're going to kill me? Okay, well, I'll be a part of your Eden. I'll have babies and live in this paradise and do nothing except for edify myself and educate myself and train my mind to become powerful." You see what I'm saying? Like what the Telosians were offering, the filth people don't realize. It's something pretty powerful. It's becoming better than human and being able to live in an Eden and being able to have all of that power and all of that newness. And she turned it down, even though it meant her death. So this helps us to like Colt, even though we lose Cusack. So what do I have to say about this? Great writing. This is how you're supposed to write. Treat your audience like they're intelligent, care about your characters, care about your story, and the details will finish themselves. Because once you care, you can make me care. So bravo, bravo, bravo. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Nice.
So good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Marco?
I know once, even though I read this at the last minute, my old Raquel is going to go crazy over this one.
Yeah.
And
I knew she would.
this is and this is some great writing too, to be repetitive, but the last line, first they want real sugar, more sugar lumps, which is great stuff for cooking, by the way. Oh God, we got food in there. Sorry. I think I could force some down, sir. Sounds like we have similar tastes. In some things, certainly. Sir, I don't know what you mean. So, but that's great writing, subtle writing, right? So, I mean, what, Colt, is, can't admit it there too, but they both are pining for Pike.
Couldn't do that today.
Yeah, he couldn't do that today. But I love the subtlety
so weird.
there.
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying they're idiots that don't want to.
No, I totally agree, boss. And can we just talk about the little tilt to Colt's head? This reminds me of Laurel Goodwin so
Very
much.
nicely done. Love
that is the way Laurel Goodwin behaves. Look at her. Look where her hands are. Look at the way her head is tilted. Okay? Laurel
Body
Goodwin
language.
does that in the cage. She does that twice with her head. One time when she's in the cage with the keeper. I mean, this person, the
Lovely
people
work.
who wrote this and drew this, oh, cherry, so cherry.
Yeah, because number one is walking confident and straight, hands behind her back, and Yeoman Colt there is kind of, I'm not going to say like a, young woman smitten in love, but just that's her body language, much more casual, and it's just the subtlety of that way it's drawn just gives you the body language between the two characters, and that's what when a comic book is well done, that's what it gives you over
body language.
Those silly books with just all those words in them.
Mark.
So I'm just teasing you, that. But that's why we love comic books so much too, because it's a medium, and when it's done, it's a visual medium combined with the written word, and when it comes all together like this, it's just an A++, and you realize how good it is. And I've written. I wish I could write a comic book. I've read so many comic books that when you get into them, you forget that you're reading something, and you experience it almost like as a moving picture, almost like a really good book sometimes gets you, although it's much tougher for a book to do, but where you're imagining, subconsciously what's happening in a scene, with a book that's written really well with good descriptions. But this art is just so fantastic here. Look at the view screen, how great the view screen looks in that last panel too. I've got it blown up on my monitor, so when you can blow these up too and see them, it's just great. And the uniform, I love these original Cage uniforms. They're they're really cool.
The cowl neck is just, I love the cowl neck. I absolutely love it.
Much closer to the Mego figures that I have. So but yeah, the uniforms work and the colors work.
Except
and I love
for your Migos, the thing I don't like is that they make the cowl black.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shin
But,
kicks, shin
shin kicks.
kicks. The
That's the
cowl
Mingo
must
people.
match. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but the the uniforms are great. And as Hungry Boys said, it's very, very tough to draw a likeness of someone accurately. And so
Mhm.
he said that that's something he struggles with. And they really nail it too, because that's another thing. It doesn't pull you out of the comic because
Mm-mm.
the characters all look like the characters on TV. So
Mhm.
it really makes it a lot easier to get into the book some of these Star Trek comics that I've read, the art's not so good, and it just pulls you out when the characters don't look like
Don't tell
they
me
should
this.
look.
This is my fourth
Well, not
comic. I'm very
yeah, but not
excited.
every. I mean, I'm not saying this series, but I'm saying just
I
in
know, I'm just
general.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah,
Just teasing you.
yeah. I know. Yeah, they don't always look great. And then this one has. I don't know if you're gonna. Does this one have the sketchbook Clobbering
Yeah, I
Times?
was about to show that. I was going to wait till we got
Good.
to it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You got some nice sketches here by Searcher. Look at Dr.
Phantom
Philip Boyce.
Outsider says, wait, so the Telosians were offering Eden. Yes, most certainly they were. I believe that 100%
Yeah.
that was Gene
Well, yeah.
Roddenberry's intention.
Even better.
And so with acid grass and poison fruit, no, it's about
No.
he says hard pass, laughing out loud. That's something that you think you would choose. But let's say that you are someone who is so driven that you decide that you're going to go out into the vacuum of space. You're going to train as an astronaut, and you're also going to have to pick up some type of science, and you're also going to have to join the military. And then you're going to go out to the new frontier. And so here you are out on the new frontier, and you encounter some aliens that treat you as though you're a lower life form, like you're a pet. And then all of a sudden, there's this realization that you're not a pet, that they have gotten themselves into a position where they no longer have gender and can no longer procreate. They're completely living in their own minds to the point where they're about to go extinct. And they want their society to endure. And so once they realize that you aren't a lower life form, they admit that they would like to completely heal their planet, the surface, and that they would like to repopulate their entire planet, and that your job as this pioneer in the new frontier would be to repopulate this planet, but also to edify yourself to be superhuman, where you would have the same intellectual powers as the Telosians. And I believe 100% that I have not used any hyperbole here in conveying exactly what Gene Roddenberry's intentions were there. The reason why I've posed this is because I take umbrage with the filth people who have oversimplified Gene Roddenberry's intentions in the cage, and of course, oversimplified what actually happens in the cage. And it's like Clobby was joking about earlier. It's like they seem to like skim watch or skim gaze, or I don't know what they're doing, or maybe it's low comprehension. I'm not sure, but it's like they're not watching the same thing that we're all watching. And so, I think if somebody said to you out in the new frontier that you had this choice, or that you could just die, and then that creature realizes that it doesn't want you to kill yourself at all, it would just rather let you go. It just failed to communicate its needs to you. That's what Gene Roddenberry was after. Not they're taking in the people to make them slaves. No, that's not. That's an oversimplification. It doesn't have anything to do with the cage. Although that's what's conveyed by the filth people. Anyway, just so you know. Anyway.
Well,
it's basically you're never gonna have to leave the holodeck, right? You're in paradise,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But that's
not a bad deal,
unfulfilling.
actually.
Yeah.
But bonus bit from the comic, of course, Star Trek Early Voyages sketchbook.
Shooter!
Here's one interesting.
Shooter!
Hey there. Now look at Boyce. Look at Dr. Boyce. Note he looks like the movie. I mean, excuse the TV. It looks more like the TV version.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Searcher what
happened with Dr. Boyce.
They must have told him to do that.
Or maybe they didn't have the actor. They didn't get the rights to the action.
Maybe, but he was already dead. I mean, a lot of people already did, and he made
the
made him
family
look close enough. But but you could have made him look closer than that. I'm sorry. No,
I love Dr. Boyce. I would hang out with Dr. Boyce. He'd make me a martini. I'd talk to him about my problems, ask him to play cards with me. I would totally hang out with Dr. Boyce. I loved him.
So here you have some nice sketch work.
Yep, looks
on the
great.
characters, which is really
I just love it when he says that to Christopher. A man will tell his bartender things he won't tell his doctor.
Yep, that's right. This is some nice stuff, though. You're going to be having this in your hand soon.
I'm so excited.
Wear gloves. You better be wearing gloves.
I will. Hey, if they're coming from that fancy schmancy place that Clobby knew about, are they going to be bagged and boarded?
Yes, but I'm
always
not
bagged
fancy
and
and
boarded,
slancy, but they'll be bagged and boarded, yeah.
Okay.
No doubt about it. So I guess we don't need to play the out credits, do we? Because it takes.
Don't go anywhere, everyone. Don't go anywhere.
Should we play them?
Yeah, sure. I think people like it, and I just want to say, Lisa and everyone else who had all those really nice compliments about the thing that I made for Clobby. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I love making stuff that you all find entertaining. So those compliments mean a lot to me. Thank you very much.
These are just our outro for the Star Trek comic review segment. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Don't go anywhere.
Warp drive, Mr. Scott. Ahead warp 1, Mr. Sulu. Accelerating to warp 1, sir.
Lovely stuff. Way to go, number one.
Well
Love
done.
it. So well done. Beautiful.
Thank you so much, boss. Hey guys, I want to ask a question. What would you think if I took the comics out of the bag and board, and I bought like beautiful frames with mats, so like really nice cotton mat, and I did a full hallway because there's only 17 of them. I have a full
16,
hallway that I could do these comics in.
Just
You know what's an easier way to do it?
That.
Retroblasting did that too. Some of his comics is you scan it and print it on photo paper, and just frame that so you're not messing up the cover. Yeah, so you're not messing up the comic. Because you can buy comic book frames to put on the wall, and
there are frames.
What?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, there are frames for comic books.
Boss man, show me. Boss man, show me.
I think our master enabler will be better finding that than
Master
I am.
enabler.
It's your fault. You mentioned it. Dude.
Enable.
I have some on my wall right now, actually.
Shooter. They're making me read this series, and like I am just
We're forcing
awestruck by it. It's just gorgeous. It's called Early Voyages. and we're like on the 4th comic, so this is like my 4th comic. So I had 4 more dates with Christopher Pike than I thought I was going to get in my life, and I'm having the greatest time, Shooter. Oh, it's called Early Voyages. There are only
It starts
17
as a
of them.
comic.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're so good. Shoot, you got to get them. And
Well,
Das Wolfen.
Hey, Das
So good to
Wolfen.
see you.
Hey, Das Wolfen. Yeah, Shooter, that was just we're reviewing Trek comics, and that was just in those credits that Raquel so nicely made. It showed like sort of a big, like a mix of what there have been out there over the past 60 years of Trek comics,
Yeah.
or 50 something years, 50.
So the creative
7 years.
process with Clobby and I, Shooter, sort of works like this. Clobby will say, like, I need a stinger, or I need an intro outro. We call them extras. I'm used to calling them extras. That's what we call them in broadcasting, like in radio. But the first thing I say to Clobby is, can you do me a favor? Can you show me images that tell the story of what you care about? And then I'll try and find a way to package them in a way I think you'll like. And then, so he sends me the images, and then I sort of see the story that he's telling, because Clobby's also a storyteller. And then I put the videos together. And then I send them to him, and I'm like, do you like this? And then we talk about it and stuff like that. And that's how he and I come together to make stuff. So all those comics are like everything that not everything, but some of the things that he may review in the future. And I'm super excited about it.
Oh, yeah. We're going to review a lot of them for sure. Sean Carter, thank you for the super chat. You're too kind, buddy. Says chapter 1 of Raquel's Lit NXO Model 1 will be available by tomorrow morning.
Okay, you're going to make me cry.
It's going nicely.
So I can talk about this in public, Sean?
I'm going to run off and get some meds. So you guys take the con. I'll be right back.
Okay, boss. So
I'll hear you. So.
Sean, am I allowed to talk about this in public? I'll just wait.
Well, he just put a super chat in, I guess.
It's
so
okay.
I'm guessing it's okay. Yep.
Okay. Sean is making me an NX01 model all lit up.
Wowzers.
I am so excited by this because Sean Carter is so talented. It's ridiculous. And he's making this for me. It's a gift from him, and I can't even believe it. So you have to follow Sean Carter on YouTube, because the guy is just ridiculous. He's insanely gifted. It makes such beautiful things. Can we get his can somebody please put the URL to his channel?
Already done.
Thank you.
I read your mind.
Thank you so much. Yes, everyone, please follow Sean Carter. Sean, I just want to say thank you so much for that beautiful super chat for the boss. It keeps the lights on in Clobby's virtual comic book shop. And, he doesn't have a bookstore anymore, and he's retired. And so every little bit helps. And it's so incredibly thoughtful and generous. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. Larry was just over the top tonight. And then the rest of you, you guys are just so generous and kind. We appreciate it so much. And I'm so excited. Sean, I don't even know what to say. For sure though, like this one's not going in my office. It's 100% going in my living room, in my front room, for sure.
Is that allowed? Your better half will allow that?
He doesn't mind at all.
Okay,
I don't know why he puts up with me, but he does. He's a pretty fantastic person. But I do have to admit though, like, let's be real, I'm not a geek. I don't collect things. Like, I'm not a collector. The one thing is that I've slowly turned our home into a library. It's mostly books. I'm a nerd. So whenever I have something that I truly love that's a physical object, I think he takes it a little bit more seriously, because he knows that, books are like the books are the gems of life for me. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, I got into trouble with my significant other because I had, I love collecting the Playmate ships and the Diamond Selects. I think at one point I had like 20 or 30 ships. I kept putting them in the family room, and back in the day when you had the old TV stands, where you had
Yeah.
the big, bookcases.
You could
with,
get away
for
with
your
more.
Yeah, so I had all the starships up there, and I had them on the shelves. And finally, she's like,
But now that
"That's
the
it."
life has gone Scandinavian, where are you putting all those?
Well, a lot of them are. I hung some of them from my ceiling. Some are in the attic, unfortunately, and I have a couple of them out, but I don't have room for them all, which is very sad. So once in a while, I rotate them out. I've been trying to hang them from the ceiling,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
Maureen
think
was
that's
like,
what I'll do.
"That's it. No more starships in the family room.
Yeah.
That's it." I reached the point of saturation. I looked around. I'm like, yeah, there are like 25 starships in the room right now, and the big Playmates, whatever, the whole set, and the Diamond Selects.
Youch.
I'm like, yes, dear. And she was right. I mean,
I think if I
it's not
had
like it
big
was my
ships
man
like you
cave.
did, I think I would hang them all. I'd get my husband to do the fishing line or
That's what I've got going. Yeah.
yeah,
How many do I have in
just
here? One,
get them all
two,
hung up.
three.
Sean Carter says, Raquel, it's just a small model, not much of a footprint, so you should be able to place it in a subtle place. And by subtle place, do you mean on the coffee table? Because I have a beautiful all glass coffee table. It's just all glass. It's
Well, it
bent
lights
glass.
up. So I guess is it battery, Sean, or most of them are, I guess, plug-in, right? I don't know, or you could do battery, I guess, right? Some
I'm
people I've seen do batteries,
I'm beyond
which is
excited.
very cool. The lighting is just so awesome. Yeah.
This is going to be the new toy for a long time. Sean, I'm blown away by your generosity and your talent. As you well know, I love puzzles and I love model making, and it's a very special thing. I like that steampunk, making like the steampunk all wood animatronics and things like that. So I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled. Thank you so much, my wonderful friend.
And
Yes,
let me
indeed.
enable Raquel right
Badass.
now too. So
Enabling
these are the
time.
ones I
Okay.
have. The comic book showcase displays, current age pack of 5, and then
Okay.
it snaps off, and you
Okay.
open the cover, and it has a wall hanger. This is BCW, who make comic book supplies.
Okay.
That one doesn't look. I mean, I'm looking at mine on
I'm
the
not a
wall.
fan.
Looks,
I don't like that it doesn't have
looks nice,
matting.
but it's not. Yeah, it's more. But these have been coming out lately, so you can get like
Yeah.
8 of these
Okay.
for
Let's see
55
these.
smackrels.
Oh, come on. Like, this is much
It's
better.
not bad.
Look at how
Yeah.
sexy that is. And tidy. You put 17 of those down a hallway, and that's cherry.
So
You
that
just
would
put a
cost
comic
you,
in that one. That's not bad at all.
so eight of them. So you need 2 of them for
Where are you ordering those from?
$110. Well, this is Amazon, but I wonder if Michael's has this
I
kind.
don't
I
know. I'm
know
going to go to Michael's
I
and
don't
find
know.
out.
Maybe Hobby Lobby will have them or something.
or Hobby Lobby maybe.
We don't
but,
have Hobby Lobby here. Wish we did.
Hmm. Michael's is
But these
similar,
look-
I think.
Yeah.
But these look pretty nice. So there's a lot of
Yeah,
options now.
that's what I'm into. I like the matte because, it's art, right?
Yeah.
Really pretty. Really pretty.
So it looks.
So after I
bought
read
these.
them and I touch them and I smell them because they're going to smell incredible, then I think I might frame them.
Yeah. So you can find frames now. Back in the day, you couldn't find.
Yeah.
You couldn't find these kind of frames with the matting. It looks pretty good. Although I'm looking at mine on the wall, doesn't look so bad either. But I guess if you're going down the hallway, like
Mhm.
it would be a lot nicer to have this matted frame, and it fits, which is
Well,
nice
yeah,
too.
we also have a very different
'Cause it's a
lifestyle
weird
here in
size.
Canada too, right? Like I explained to you before, right? We have to live indoors for most of the year, and so everyone has a basement, and many people here have 9-foot, 10-foot ceiling basements. I know folks that have like 11, 12-foot ceilings in their basement, and they're turned usually into like huge family rooms, like recreation rooms, and so our basement has a TV and a pool table. And so I can put whatever I want down there. So it's basically, well, one time I did ask if we could do like the bridge. I said, can we would you be interested in building me the bridge? Like I would give you the plans to do it, and you could do a bridge. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, this is like I don't know, like 10 years ago." He's like, "Are we gonna be those people?" And I was like, "Well, I
Yes.
want to be those people." And he's like, "No, honey, no." So
No.
I don't get to do like build the whole bridge in the basement, but I
Oh,
do
that'd
get
be
to
so
put
cool.
up all of my posters. I do get to put up all of my like anything from Star Trek. It goes up. It goes up
Well,
for
that's
sure.
good.
And
Just
Phantom makes a good point too. Make sure you have UV protection. I don't know if you've got a lot of sunlight
yeah,
in
yeah,
there, but
yeah.
actually,
When you're
some of my stuff, my windows originally, the contractor told us they were UV protection, but we didn't have them, or
mhm,
was damaging some of my stuff. So then you can buy film. What
you
a pain
can.
it was to put in, but I put UV film on the inside of my windows to
Yeah.
protect my collection. But yeah, that's a great point, Phantom, because yeah, your stuff gets wrecked, and that's why comics are valuable too. You know later.
Was it super
uh,
expensive to do your picture window? Like, do
no,
you
it's
have a
not
picture
expensive. It's
window
just
or a bay window
well,
or
just a regular casement window, but
okay.
maybe $40 for the film. I think I could do two, well, maybe it's like $20 a window, but just the labor, you got to get it perfect and cut
Yeah.
it, and it's not not easy, but it's worth it if you've got a collection. Because some of my Thor, I had a nice Thor action figure from the Avengers set, with the Iron Man, and Clobbering Times has that one with Giant Man and his
Which one?
cape, the
Oh,
the set with Giant Man and the original Iron Man, the Avengers set with Thor
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
Hulk,
No, issue
and
number 1. Hey, Mega
yeah,
Cropper, what's up?
Hey,
Hey,
Mega
DJ Ronnie
Cropper.
G's here too. Look
hey,
at that.
hey
DJ
guys.
Ronnie G.
What's up,
And
dude?
half of Thor's cape is faded because I had him on like the windowsill.
Oh
So this
no.
the cape that was like behind it. I should ask Andy Masterson. I'm sure he knows like he could dye it or something or re-dye
Yeah.
it or. But I was like, oh no, Thor is aging rapidly. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of my books are faded, Phantom Outsider. A lot of my books are faded.
yeah. Damn
I
it.
just I just love having the drapes open here. I'm so far north. Like I don't think that you folks can fully appreciate how far north I am.
Mm.
Uh, like
You
imagine,
get sunlight there?
yeah, but very limited in the
Twice a year.
wintertime. Very very limited in the wintertime. So like I don't even know. It's so bad. Like the sun fully comes out and in I don't know, like at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it's dark again at 4 o'clock. So it's not. You don't quote me on that. I don't know what the exact ones are. Let me look it up. But it's really bad. Like it's so bad that people like complain about it, and I don't want to exaggerate because lots of people exaggerate about it, but a lot of people have a seasonal affective disorder that live this far north because you get up in the morning and you go to work and it's dark and you don't see the sun. And then you leave to go home and it's dark again. So it's like
Yeah.
you're constantly living in the dark. So
Oh, yeah. I've had those kind of jobs before.
yeah,
What's the sunlight gives you? Vitamin D? Is it the
yeah,
sunlight gives you?
yeah, yeah. That's exactly it. Just I'll look it up here and I'll show you. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Like
So it'd be tough to be on a starship too, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, because you'd be totally yeah, you're in darkness all the time, right? But I think that they would have
They got it handled.
yeah, they would
They'd
have
figure it
it
out.
with the
Yeah.
lights, right? Like the happy lights or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just type this in. Sorry, everyone.
Yep, yep, yep. That's all right.
So it's really bad. Oh, they're not showing it
Smilex.
in the winter.
What do you say there, Smilex? Good to see you.
Hi, Smilex.
Welcome, welcome.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I'd
where.
agree with that. It is the most Trekian of the films,
Mhm.
although I love Wrath. It's my the motion picture is the most Trek
Right.
of the films.
The motion picture is a masterpiece, Smilex.
Yeah.
I don't know
Get
why I
that new
can't find
collector's
it.
edition. Get that the 4K director's edition they restored is cherry, as Raquel would say.
Yes.
Great
Love it.
special features. Love that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what are you looking for? What you looking
I'm
for?
just trying to give everyone the times, but it just keeps giving it to me for current. And That's not helpful at all.
What do you want to know? Sunrise and sunset, or?
Yeah, sunrise and sunset in December, November or
Well, I could
December.
ask my Echo, but then it would set everyone's. Here,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
then
turn
it
my
would set-
mic off. I'm gonna turn
Yeah.
my mic off. Let's see.
Okay, so I was right. So December, it's sunrise is at 20 after 8, and sundown is 20 after 4.
Well, the sun is getting low.
So it's pretty bad up here. It's not quite like it's awful. And I think January is worse.
Wow, the sun sets at 9:39 p.m.
Really?
Wow, that late. That's nice, actually.
Wow.
Well, that's because
Right now,
it's
though.
summer.
Right now, though. Yeah.
No,
summer.
no,
Yeah,
no.
so it flips in the winter. Yeah.
Last month, I think sundown is like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night.
Wow, I would have loved that. Imagine all the wiffle ball I could have played as a kid.
Yeah.
I'd never gone to bed because it gets dark here at about 8:30.
Yeah.
Stayed out all night playing.
All right,
Yeah,
Das Wolfen, have a good night.
Good night, Das Wolfen. But the thing is like when I travel to the Caribbean and stuff, and I'm south, I envy you folks because it's more regular. Here it's like, the winter, all bets are off. Like I was saying to Clobby, it's like you wake up and you go to work and it's dark, and when you leave work, it's dark, and you probably only have an 8-hour workday. So it could be pretty freaky. But in the summer, I think for like 2 months we have uber lights. So, but anyway, it's weird, and we learn to deal with it. So that's why I always have the windows open in the front room. Is just starving for light.
Oh my goodness gracious! Here I found. I'll show. I found something. Yeah, shows how little sunlight you guys get.
Show it.
This is.
Oh, I love this. Thank you so much, Mark.
So this is. In January you get 7.5 hours of daylight. Oh, that's
wow.
Horrible. Oh, to the
Oh
pain.
my goodness. Is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
very
9 hours. It goes up. The most you get is 15 hours, of course, I guess. And
December's the worst, I think, though, Mark. I'm pretty sure.
right, yeah. So December, 7 hours 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That might be nice.
Sun comes up almost at like 8:45 and sets at 4:28. That's the land of vampires. They should write a comic book about vampires living in the great
This is what I'm
Arctic
saying.
Circle. Oh wait, they already did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. 30 days, whatever.
Yeah.
30 days, 30 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Crazy
painful.
town.
Yeah, and it's worse if you go a little more north.
God, it's 8 hours of
see-
daylight.
Yeah, but do you
A
see where
third
your
of your
pin
days
is?
in darkness.
You see where your pin is? You got to put your pin up where it says Alberta. Move your
Yeah.
pin.
Does it let me move the pin?
Sean Carter says, one of the coolest things I've ever done is golf. I think coolest as a pun.
Yeah.
In Fairbanks, Alaska in June, tee off time was 11:30 p.m. and the sun barely moved by the time we were p.m. Wow,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
not a.m.
Yeah,
Holy-
PM.
He is correct. So yeah, it gets worse
Huh.
the further north you
Further
go.
north you go, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
because you're on top of the world. I hope you
Wow.
don't fall off when you're up that
I
high on
promise
the
I won't
top of the
fall
world.
off.
Yeah. Oh, so
Yeah,
not
what
only
do
is
you
it
mean, top of
difficult
the world?
to
Earth's flat. You realize that the Flat Earth Society has offices around the globe?
I think
Yeah,
that's
they do,
incredible,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
That they can go around the globe.
They're around the globe.
They don't fall
No
off.
contradiction. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
That's right.
So,
It's weird that you said that because that's like one of my regular sayings. Weebles wobble, but they don't
Weebles
fall
wobble?
down.
You have
Uh,
weebles up there? Wow.
Whenever anybody trips, I always say weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Wow.
That's why when everyone was bringing up the sunlight, I was thinking, wow, in the summertime, the sun is in a different place. And its position means you get way more sun inside of the house during a certain time. And then in the winter, it just blasts into the house in winter. So it's gone before you know it.
Yeah, wow.
Dang. Well,
So I will protect those comics. The long and short of this Canadian story, folks, is I will protect.
You might
the
not have to
comics
worry
I
about
promise.
getting them in the sun up there, though.
Yeah, right.
here's Eric. What's up, Eric?
Eric!
I don't know if we. I mean, I don't know if we saw you earlier, but just in case, shout you out, shout you out.
He was probably eating. The guy's always eating magnificent food. He's quite a cook, you know.
Larry
Some
says
nice looking
Aussies.
shrimp last night.
Says Aussies fall off.
Oh, I knew it. That's where all the Aussies are going. They're falling off.
I hope that doesn't explain Hungry Boy because we hadn't seen him forever.
Yeah, where did he go?
Where's HB? Anyway, if you're out there, HB, I ain't hollering at you. So, shall we start moseying on out? It has been quite some time.
Yeah, let's
Sure.
get
For
out
quite
of
a
here.
while.
It's a school night, and it's 26
School night,
minutes
you need to
past
get you out of
hour.
here. Well, I'm going to try to get you out of here as fast as I can.
Then
All
I'll
right,
be
everybody.
quiet.
Nope. You do what you got to do. I'm not telling you what you got to do. You do it. You do you, as the kids say. What I'll say is,
Oh, is that musical on tonight?
told you we were in trouble. What? No,
The Strange Nude Worms musical.
No, that wasn't the one that dropped today. Anyway, Cardinal Sim, what's up, buddy?
Cardi!
Hey, Cardi.
What's up, Cardi? No, well, it wasn't. That's not the one that dropped this morning. Anyway.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking forward to
They
that
drop it
musical.
at a different time. You may check out and see. Remember last week they dropped that other one at a weird time.
I mean, that's going to be the
trash.
You know,
So who knows? Maybe they're gonna drop it at a different time. I don't care.
Maybe, and we can have another cop show that's all with singing. We have the Star Trek will be just singing from now on.
Yeah. Well,
gross. It's so dumb, and people are watching it and they're like, "Oh, it's so good."
Didn't even make it yet. I mean, they didn't show it yet. So they haven't shown you, but you are gonna watch it with us, right? Number one.
Yes, Raquel will watch it with
You
us.
almost made me say the F word on air.
Yeah. Oh shit. Well, all right. So, all right, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and start moseying on out of here. We want to thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. It's been fantastic. What a fun time, as it always is here at the clubhouse, and you've all been great. Just love you so much. You're the best. I want to we'll start off with our wonderful first officer, Commander R.M. Briggs. Any final words you may have, Medea?
Well, thank you so much, boss man. I want to thank each and every single person in the chat tonight. Thank you for the lovely conversation. I also want to thank all of those folks who not only jumped in and created this marvelous conversation, but also donated to the channel and gave these marvelous gifts. It's so incredibly thoughtful of you, and it's so appreciated. Thank you so much, one and all. I want to thank the Wrenches for the marvelous job they do in helping to promote our show and promote our community, and helping to herd the cats, as it were. Whenever anybody needs anything, it seems there's always one of these marvelous Wrenches who just guides people to where they need to go to get to what they have to get to, and we appreciate that. You know, you don't get paid for that, as crazy as that is. And what's even weirder is that we have like the best Wrenches on YouTube that work for like the big channels. And so like Clobby and I and Mark and I, we love you guys. You guys do such a great job. So thank you for that. I have another book coming out, and I went and I asked the corporations if they were interested in publishing my book. And I got the usual answer. Corporations, book publishers, they're looking for activism written by activists. And I'm not into activism, and I'm not an activist. I'm just an academic. I'm a communications and technology scholar, and I write science fiction. So 17 people from this community, this beautiful community that Clobby created, stepped forward and said, "We're going to back your book." And so I said, you know what? You can read it before anyone else. And so these are the 17 marvelous people who are backing my book, and I appreciate them more than words can possibly convey. Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, also known as Gil Bavel, Shooter, Chris Persia, Scuba and Leslie Pete, Eric K, and my trusty dusty dog Kirby, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C and his beautiful family, Anti-Derivative Jill, Maximum Redstone, JJ Kirk, Dabman and the Dabman Clan, Lord and Lady Thoth, and of course, Rob Altus. Thank you so much for backing my book. I have another story about to come out. It's around 6,500 words. It should be due by the end of the month to that Patreon. So thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to Mark D with a C. Heck of a great guy, really talented person. He has a YouTube channel. You can back him there. Also, since we forced him to start a Patreon account, it would be really great if we could all back him there. And it doesn't even cost money. You don't even have to have any money to just to follow him, to show him that some encouragement, and to let him know that you care. And certainly he deserves that. Wonderful person. And last but certainly not least, Clobby, I love you. Thank you so much for everything you do for everyone in this community. I adore you. I wouldn't know any of these people or any of these things if it weren't for you. Thank you for introducing me to this beautiful comic. I'm having a heck of a good time, the time of my life. And I love every Thursday and every Saturday with you. You're one of the best friends I've ever had. And I appreciate you so much, baby. Mwah, mwah. And that's it.
Oh, back at you. Love you. Thank you so much. And you're the best. You are the greatest. And speaking of the greatest, we do have the greatest chief engineer in the fleet as well. Any closing words, sir?
Oh, well, thank you so much, Ed. You guys are too awesome to hang out with. It's of course, as I lose my voice there, I apologize, but always special to hang out. Always appreciate we become good friends and just hanging out, and it's great to share all this stuff that we love and enjoy with everyone. It was a pretty darn positive show tonight, which is great. So sometimes things in life can be really negative, but it's fun to get together and talk about what we really enjoy and what we really like. And that comic tonight was fantastic, and that UFO episode was great. Maybe not the best Tales of Tomorrow episode, although I did like it. But yeah, this is just so much fun to be here, and thank you for everyone who supports everyone here. And go out and get Raquel's book, and Patreon. You can actually follow people too. So even if you can't make a donation, follow us on Patreon, which is great. My channel, I think, is probably demonetized for the next 3 months, but what the heck, it's okay. But I want to give a shout out to my Patreon shooter, Brian Hepburn, Rob Altus, and Larry. Thank you very much. And Raquel's following me on Patreon too, so thank you. So I kind of put things on hiatus till I was trying to appeal everything, but since it looks like it didn't go through, although YouTube just sent me something. How did we do? Would you like to take a survey on our support? Yeah. Well, your robots didn't do very well, but yeah, it's
profanity. Oh, maybe not. Erase, backspace.
Backspace, yeah. But Dan, the chat was awesome tonight. I love trying to read. We try to read everything, or at least I know Raquel does. I try to too. I'm sure Clobbering Times does. But all the great conversations in the chat. Yeah, we try. Yeah. It's tough all the time. We can't show it everything, but we try to read it, and it's just great having everyone hang out, and really appreciate it. So everyone have a great rest of the week, and looking forward to hanging out with everyone on Saturday Night Star Trek, and we'll have Sunday Night Geekery this week too. So
Lisa has made a request on your behalf, so I would like to fulfill it. YouTube support.
At least I could have watched the video and then turned me down, right? I did all that work. It's like the support person told me to make a video.
Man, it sucks.
That sucks. I could have said, all right, yeah, we watched it, but you failed. I would have liked that better, but oh well, what the heck. Stuff happens. Yep.
Oh my
I'll
goodness.
Go drown in clam pizza.
Sorry, dude. Everybody, I'm going to do some show notes and then some shout outs. So we're going to let you all get out of here because we've been here all quite a bit. What we got? Of course, tomorrow night I'll be hanging out on my on a couple of friends channels. First, of course, at I believe it's 6 Central, 7 Eastern on my good buddy J-Man's channel. J-Man and Sean and I on the Friday Night Free for All. I think this is going to be a new name for that. It's a new show where we just do different things, and I'll hang out with him when I'm able to. And tomorrow night, dedicated to our great friend Phantom Outsider, who's wanted me to review this comic for a while, and this is going to happen. But he's going to get not just my silly voice; he's going to get 3 of us. So you're going to get the full treatment on this one, the review of the super reviewers, all dedicated to you, awesome. Phantom Outsider, buddy. So looking forward to that. We love the Phantom Outsider. He's a good buddy. Where are we at? Oh, and then of course, I should be over there with the Nicholas in the gang, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser for the Friday night comic shop talk. The comic shop talk gang, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's always a fun time with that great group there. And where were I? I don't know. I got all messed up. Okay, sorry. Then of course, Saturday Night Star Trek. Of course, 4 more episodes of Star Trek Voyager reviewed. Same Trek time, same Clubby channel. Looking forward to that, of course. And then there's the Sunday Night Geekeriness with our great Chief Engineers channel and Mark D. with the C's channel. 10 p.m. Eastern. And just that, geeking out about all things geek and just having fun, kick back, relax time, and, come over and come for the geekery and stay for the eatery, I say. Come over and just chill out with us, have a donut, have some ice cream, have some 1,000 hamburgers like Superman, and some pizza with no clams and some,
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too.
Like,
and then
WTF, boss?
Then Monday night, oh yes, I'll be back over with the J-Man's Great channel again, hanging out. We're reviewing 3 more issues in our ongoing mission to chronicle all of the Legion of Superheroes in chronological order. That is from 58 to 1989, silver through bronze. Looking forward to that. And then this is a big announcement, folks. After that, I'll be on my show doing a regular Monday night channel. I'm not sure what yet. And then it's August shows up after that, a week from tonight. No, a week from last night, whatever it is. Next week begins August, and August begins as always on Clobbering Times. Jack Kirby month is here, baby. All other than obviously the Star Trek shows, all of my shows will be in one way or another dedicated. Well, and the Clubhouse will be different. We'll do the normal Clubhouse show, but still, all my other ones are going to be dedicated to the King of Comics, the great Jack Kirby. So get ready for another King Kirby August. So looking forward to.
Nice.
Well, I'm looking forward to that anyway. I enjoy it. So all right. Shout outs to our great wrenches out there. First of all, there's the great Eric K, the bronze wrencher. Chris Persia, Vindicator Wrench of the Great White North.
Did you see what he made?
No. Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, I did. Oh God, yeah. Should I show it? You want to show it? We can show it. Should we show it?
Pardon?
Should we show it?
Yes, please.
Okay, the great Chris Persia, folks, has outdone himself again.
Come on, this is awesome. This is Jerry.
Oh man, I love it. On the way. Look what the great Chris Persia made, folks.
He did this.
Awesome.
Chris, I think he had to go. I think he said he might be listening, but he's not at the. Well, Chris.
No, he went to go and lie down. Listen,
okay, well,
I gotta send him a picture so he can put me in the picture.
Well done.
You're in the picture, right there.
You're right there. That's you.
I'm gonna put my head on there.
Oh, well, that's up to him. All right, do that.
Or
anyway,
my body. I could do this cosplay. You could put me in there.
Clobberian, dude. Man, I will cherish this. Thank you so much.
I want this. I want to be in this picture, and I want to hang this picture in my.
You're Valeria.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, look, hey, if he could swing it, I wouldn't know. So
this
look,
is so good. This is so good. Oh God, I love
it. Fancy. Don't worry, I'm definitely going to add a Jack Kirby feature to the Clubhouse for August. So anyway, but yes, that's unreal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chris. Clobby the Clyberian. And by the way, I credit that fully to you, sir.
So good.
And I will cherish it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Anyway, sorry for interrupting.
No. I'm glad you did. I forgot all about it. I wanted to show it. Anyway, the great D. Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron, Lord Thoth, Lady Thoth, Avon lives, long live the Legion, my friend. J-Man, the Wrench Without Fear, Hungry Boy, the Laboni Master, Kal-El, Super Winch Supreme, Maddie's Daddy, Thor in Vegas, Fanty Outsidery, Music Meister, Max Redstone. And let's see, should we get everybody shouted out? Or it'll take a while, won't it? So I'm going to shout out as many as I can of you folks. Smilex, it's lovely to see you here. Thank you. It's great to see you, Smilex. I'm glad you're doing well. The great Larry. Thank you so much, buddy, for all you've done and all you do, and I appreciate you. You're just an amazing friend of the show and a great friend to Raquel, and I certainly do appreciate you.
So generous and just so kind, and also just so funny and cool, and just a great conversationalist. I can't thank you enough. I don't know what we ever did to deserve your friendship, but it's pretty gosh darn outstanding. Just really love
Thank
you a
you.
lot, Larry, and we really appreciate you. Thank you, sweetheart.
Absolutely, Ishness. Lisa, lovely Lisa, yay, good to see you, dear. Matthew Pounder, my friend. I think your Muslim uncle was here earlier. Ezra Goldstein, shalom. Let's see who else was here. Mega Cropper, Don Ranger Power, Oliver Belamonte, Sean Carter. Thank you, Sean, for all you do. Thank you so much. The great Michael Beacom and the wonderful Cassandra Beacom. Shout out to them. I think they might have had to go to bed, but shout out to them nonetheless. The great Cardinal Sin, Gil. Thank you for popping in, buddy. DJ Ronnie G. Let's see here. I think Dave C was here earlier. I'm getting to everybody, folks. It takes a while to get to the ones I haven't shouted out yet. I got to work on that star system. Starring that system. Turing Machine. Man, oh man, that chat. So much going on in that chat. Dadman and the Dadman clan were here tonight.
Big chat. Yeah, there's a lot of text.
Shooter. Right. Shooter was here though. Dadman, Shooter. Yeah, you're right though. Das Wolfen. JJ Kirk. I am Kirak. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Scott Knudsen, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. I'm very honored by that. Thank you. Brian Hepburn. And of course, the great, I already said Don Power Ranger, didn't I? Donnie. Bob Kelcher Republic. Oliver Belamonte. The Comic Relief Crusader. Admiral Teague. Captain Infinity and Beyond. It exists right here. And right now. It's here in the now. Turing Machine. I think I already said Turing Machine. Joseph Dredd. Here come the judge. I think Keely Chow popped in earlier. Could be mistaken. Ray Lucard. All right. Good to see you there, my friend. Let's see. Come on, man. Just takes a while, folks. I'm sorry. But I like to get everybody shouted out. You're important to me. I want you to know that, you know. So, Simply Steve, buddy. Maximum Redstone. I think I already shouted about that, but I hope you're doing well, buddy. Get better. All right. Let's see. I think we're toward the end. Matt G was here. Hey, Matt G. All right, man. You never know who sneaks in there. I tell you what. You never knew who's going to sneak up in there. Mighty Orbots, for example. Warrior of Justice. Hey. Ravenscroft was here earlier. All right. You got to go back far sometimes, but you catch him. So I think the Tetrarch of Apathy was also here. Yeah, there you go. Sure, yep. Now I think I'm probably to the end of it. You know, unless Mark would care to make a little wager.
Oh, always make the wager that, you know, we always have to miss one. I mean, there's no way it can be that infallible.
So you're saying no?
I'm saying no. Yeah, you got.
I haven't said them all yet. That's what you're saying. All right.
Yep.
I think you could be right, sir. Let's just take a look. I'm going to say, nah, I got them all. John Shuggy Rupus, except after that one. Makes, Claude Salling. There you go. I mean, after that one, that's what I say. Except for those two, I'm going to say I got them all. What about you? Did you change your position any at all?
All right, now you got those two. Yeah, so maybe you got everyone.
Yeah, let's see. Might have got them all now.
Yeah, Lenron, we're still, holy cow, we're still going.
Yeah, Picasso.
Where's Phil Rizzuto when you need him?
I got
Lenron Hot Rod.
Picasso and Blunt Philly Reviews and Tuckerverse. Yeah, see, got them in under the wire there. Thank you guys for being here tonight. So that allowed me to get everybody. Looks like there we go. We're almost knocked them all out of here. I think that's about it. Did you say Linrod was here? Joe Dog.
Yeah, Lenrod's here. Yeah.
Joe Dog.
Very
Hey,
late
Linrod. Hey, Linrod. What's up, man?
Lenron Hot Rod. Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex is here?
Yep.
Jonah Hex. What's up, bud? Penny was here. Remember Penny was here?
Yep. Penny will be joining us later when we go off air. She will be I think
Okay.
I'm not sure if she downloads this and listens to it or if she just plays it on her YouTube.
You know who else was here? Gwagnar.
Oh yeah,
That's
Greg.
right.
Gwag. So that's everybody. I want to thank everyone who showed up tonight, everyone who hung out with us, anyone who lurked. Thank you so much. And anyone who's watching on a download or a rewatch, and actually, for some reason, watches with me doing this silly crap at the end like this.
Cheese dog.
We're gonna stay another 4 hours, so Raquel can't eat anything. No, sorry. Oops.
We're gonna go eat macaroni and cheese with Tilly.
You just made me snort. You did. You're an awful person.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful remainder of your evening and week, and have a great weekend.
Get those nerds! 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 What?
Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
I just love clobbering time.